Okay, we're recording. Hello everyone. It's Vlad. We're doing an after-action report for B2 Asta in ImpDip, and for the first time on this channel, I've got a guest with me. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Right. Hello. I'm Lord Tyrant. This is my first game, and I'm playing Ute-Shoshone.
Yeah. So this is your first game. So do you have much diplomacy experience outside of before this?
Almost zero. My very first diplomacy game was the World of Chaos.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And you were
I, I,
playing. Was it Constantinople?
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a good way to get to grips with the map and know a little bit. Yeah, I suppose we may as well start and say, so you were playing Ute-Shoshone in this game. Why did you pick Ute?
I don't know. I had a couple of other. They seemed the most interesting. I was actually really hoping I would get them because from looking at the map, for them I felt like there was a clear opening I want to go for, which was like an attack on Atapasca with Inuit
Okay.
right away.
Yeah.
And Ute was the one that I did the most like sort of looking at tactics beforehand. For the other ones, I would have played by ear. For this one, I had like a game plan
Yeah, so you
before the
came
game
in with a
started.
predetermined, I'm going to go for the Athabasca Crusher.
Yeah, I have since found out that that's a thing. Not only I noticed.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not very familiar with North America, so my experience. This was only my second game of Imdit proper. I played the World of Chaos game like you did, and then I played a game as Safavids in the 1.6 wave. So I don't have much experience with America, and I think there were two people I didn't really talk with much in the Orchid game, and they were Athabasca and Ute. So other than the people that died like immediately, so I didn't know much about North America coming into this game. So I picked Netherlands for this game, and I thought, well, I've played a game as a regional, so how about we give it a go and try playing a colonial, see how it goes. Because there's a lot more to go, but I thought it's going to be a great way to just learn like the whole map because the Netherlands are everywhere. There's a couple of important changes to talk about to the map at the start of B2 that made me think the Netherlands would be a good pick. The first of them is down here in Africa. And in the previous map, this was just one dot. I don't know if you remember much of the old map, but Mandara was just the one dot
No, I
here.
didn't.
And almost always Congo and Netherlands would be fighting over Mandara. Or Congo would get Mandara, but the Netherlands would go for St. Helena. And there'd just be a lot of drama early on about who got these dots. So the fact that these two were split in two made it possible for the Dutch and Congo not to fight early. And I came into this game thinking, gee, I'd really love to see if I can be a Dutch that allies Congo and has a real look at the Thunderdome, because this area is such a mess for the the six colonials in the area, really, if you count Canaries. So there's so much going on, and I thought I kind of like the idea of not having to be at war with Congo immediately. And the other one, and you might laugh when I say this, but I came into this game looking at these changes here. So lots of changes to Indonesia. I'm not super familiar with the old Indonesia, but the key changes. Number one is that Ceylon is now connected to the mainland, so armies can walk in and out of Ceylon. The second of them is that Sumatra has been split in two, into Aceh and Palembang. And Aceh here is a nice little English dot. So again, it's designed to
So
have...
that's also an extra dot then.
Yes, it's an extra dot in the area, which makes it a little more easy for the Dutch to not have to play in India and not have to contest Portugal and England. It makes it also easier for the Dutch not to necessarily have to fight Ayutthaya very much. And so the two big things I thought coming into this game as Netherlands was I don't want to be a colonial that comes in and works with all the colonials and fights against all the regionals. I want to come in and I want to ally Congo. I want to come in and I want to ally Ayutthaya. And I want to come in and ally someone in Europe. I mean, there's a lot of regionals around, so there's a lot going on, but this area is obviously very weak. So Netherlands are often regarded as a pretty difficult nation to play because of how spread out they are, but I thought this is going to be the best way for me to learn North America because I'll be there without having to know everything immediately. This will be a great way to learn South America. I had a decent amount to do with South America in World of Chaos, but not all that much. I wasn't actually there. I felt very at home in this area of the map as I played Benin in the World of Chaos game, so I liked the idea of kind of controlling the same area as the guinea pigs. That weighed into my decision to pick Netherlands as well. But yeah, they're in India, they're in Indonesia, which I don't really know. All of these areas, so I thought it could be quite fun. Tyrant, did you know anyone in this game before it started?
No, I think some other people play. I think I met some other people through World of Chaos, but I didn't remember usernames at the time. I
Okay.
noticed later.
Yeah, do you know who they were, if you did know anyone from World of Chaos?
I think Inuit. I don't. I think I only noticed later. I think
Oh,
Inuit played, but I only found that out after the game ended.
Inuits played
You
Mpemba
told me that
in
you
World
played
of Chaos.
later.
Yeah.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they were in Africa with me.
Ah,
Ottomans played
and I think
Helena.
one of the subs later reached out and recognized me from World of Chaos as well.
Ah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That's a good call. Yeah, so in my previous game, I knew a lot of players at the start of the game, and I feel like there was a bit of shenanigans pulled by the mods because there were, I think, 8 Africans from World of Chaos in the Orchid game, and like 4 other people that had things to do with Africa. Which was pretty crazy. So it was a stacked game
Oh,
for
that's
people I
interesting.
knew. This game was very different. So I only knew, well, I say only, I knew 4 people coming into this game. Probably the most important of them to people who've watched the Orchid recap is the Ottomans player. And this guy, Zuntol, I've referred to him already in this video because he played Belem in World of Chaos. He was a member of the Guinea Pigs halfway through the game. But more importantly, in 1.6 Orchid, he played as Poland and he soloed the game. And in the final turn of the game, he took, I think, 4 dots off of me in Russia as part of this. So we'd butted heads a lot during Orchid, but came out of it. Well, I mean, we were friends, so there was not going to be any hard feelings from it. But certainly I was nervy about Zuntol in that game. Coming into this, thinking, is he going to come in as Ottomans and make it really difficult for me in Africa, make it difficult for me in Europe? Yeah, the second of them is the Austria player here, who is Dyer. And Dyer is a good friend from Clock Tower. Dyer is a good friend for World of Chaos. He played Debre Bihan, and we had a lot of communications together as Dyer's a Kiwi and I'm an Aussie, so Africa was kind of run by an Aussie. Oh, I think I'm not sure if Benguela was Aussie or Kiwi. Sorry, Benguela, but and a Kiwi here, so there was a lot of time zone press going on between us. Dyer's a good friend. Dyer specced me in Orchid, and we get on quite well. We play Clock Tower together, and I thought this could be a really nice angle to have some kind of alliance play in Europe, because Austria and the Netherlands obviously kind of impact each other early.
And Netherlands also really needs at least one good ally in Europe. So
Oh,
that feels like a
yeah.
good start.
Yeah, so having a predetermined relationship with someone you would think might be a good way to start an alliance with them. And that's some foreshadowing for what I'm about to talk about in a minute. But first, let's talk about Mapuche. Mapuche is Dander and is another one of the Blood of on the Clock Tower legends from shout out to the Asta and others play Blood on the Clock Tower. Tyrant had his first game in there the other day and won as the demon. So
Purely skill on my part. I
pure
contributed
skill,
a lot to that victory.
nothing else. Anyway, Dander is a friend from Clock Tower, and Dander also specced me as Safavids in the last game. So 2 of my most active specs from last game are in this game against me. So I was really excited to see a game with me, Dyer, and Dander all in the one game. And Mapuche and the Netherlands have a bit to do with each other. So we might be talking about South America at some point. We might be talking about Australia at some point because Mapuche comes over to Wuruk early, and I'm over here in Indonesia. And the final player I knew before was not the England player from Orchid, but subbed in for England for a couple of years during Orchid, and that was Kevin, who started the game as Ayutthaya. And as I said before, I came into this game looking at maybe allying with Ayutthaya and seeing how that would go as the Netherlands. Because we've got this extra dot here, there's less tension. I'm not going to be looking at the Andaman Islands. England might be as well, so there could be tension between them. There's a lot of Mughal changes. So Mughal started this game with 6 dots, and in the past they'd only started on 5. I believe this is the first 6-dot power in Imperial Diplomacy, so it was going to be really interesting to see how that impacted everything. Did you have much to think about Mughals before the game started in terms of the 6 dots?
I looked at them before when they were at 5, and both before and now, I don't know how I would survive as Mughals. It seems like a very complicated position, and I haven't looked into it a lot, but I feel like the 6 dots gave them a higher score they need to win, and made it a bit easier for them to survive the early game. But I don't know if it allows them. I haven't looked into it a lot, but it didn't feel like a very big buff. But I don't really, I'm not confident in that assessment.
Fair enough. I think one of the big things it allows is for them to have some kind of play against the kind of meta of Portugal and England working together. Because so often in year 1 in India, you'll see Goa bounce whatever that dot used to be out of Hyderabad, and then England moved to Rajmahendri, and then Rajmahendri bounced Mughals out of Hyderabad, so Mughals wouldn't be able to get in with strength 1 twice, because Portugal would say, I'll let you get to Raja if you let me get to Bellary. So that would be kind of the meta to both get a dot and deny Mughals anything. So I think this allows for some southern openings into India by Mughals in order to try and play against that. So it'll be interesting to see how Mughals deal with this. Yeah, Kevin's Ayutthaya. I'm hoping to see if I can work with Kevin. I got on very well with Kevin in that game. It was during that time that I actually stopped warring England and started peacing with them, which I was kind of looking at doing anyway, but certainly Kevin and I got on well during that game. I thought we might be able to get on well in this game. Yeah, we may as well start talking about the game as it opens. And we may as well start with you before we get to too much of the map. So, what happened early for you in press?
So my early press with Atapasca is really good. They're active and they seem to be pressing a lot, which made me it made me both not want to attack them because they were fun to talk to, frankly, but also made me want to attack them even more. My main thought about why I wanted to attack Atapasca at all is that I don't think Ute can win with a strong Atapasca above them, or at least it's very tenuous.
Yeah.
So I felt like an early attack is the best time to knock them out. And especially if they are a good presser and very active, that's even worse for me because then they might do well in general. So that sort of helped along in the decision. And then Spain was generally really inactive, which I kind of
they were.
liked because I don't want a very strong Spain to my south, especially if I'm opening against Atapasca.
Yep.
But also them not being active made it a bit hard to like get a good read on them.
I think that's correct with Spain across the board, is that a lot of people were talking about how Spain didn't seem to be very active. They weren't not pressing, but they just weren't pressing very much early. And compared to some very active pressers in this game, as we will come to as you talk about France.
Yeah, France, we didn't have much to talk about in the first year, especially because I didn't want to leak anything about the attack on Atapasca or anything like that. But they seemed like a good presser and just generally nice to talk to. I opened up some talks with you and England. It was mostly just courtesy at the beginning of the game, and I also opened up some chats with other neighbors of neighbors as well. But for the first year, nothing too relevant. Yeah, with Inuit, my first negotiation went about as I was hoping when I was planning ahead my first moves. We started talking about who gets aleuts, where I was pushing to get it, and then I managed to convince them to give me aleuts, and in exchange, I'll help them attack Atapasca.
Yeah, okay. So
So
you were
as far as
claiming.
those negotiations go, I feel like in those negotiations I got what I wanted in the first phase.
Yeah, it seems really clean for you to sort that all out pretty early, and particularly if you've got good press with Atha and you are kind of saying to them that you're not going to attack them.
Athabasca, I was mentioning that me and Inuit are fighting over Aleuts, which was true. And I mentioned that to players around as well. And at some point, I asked Athabasca if they would support me into Denaina if I went into Gulf of Alakshak, which they jumped onto immediately. And I don't think they were expecting an attack on them.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah.
Other than that, yeah, no, I think that's about it.
Yeah, I'll launch into mine because
Yeah, with Spain, I arranged on like who gets Hawaii, who gets Aquala, but other than that, the relevant opening press, that was about it.
yep, too easy, yeah. And we'll see in moves what happens with all of that. As Netherlands, the most crucial press at the start of the game is with all of the different colonials, and a lot of press with a lot of colonials started very early. And I mean, at the start of the game, you're making your press channels, you're trying to get them in the right spot, you're saying hello to everyone, you're dropping a few courtesy like, hey, I'd love to work with you, all of that kind of thing. I think the most important chat for me to talk about that was created quite early on was a chat called #FilthyFrench. And I don't know if you've seen this one since press opened yesterday.
I've seen that it exists. I didn't read too much through it.
Yeah. So Filthy French was created by Austria. And Dyer, I mentioned to you was a friend, and Austria wanted to propose crushing France early on, or at least to get me and England working together against France. And if you look into this chat, you can see England's immediate response to this is, "Oh, thank you for doing this, Austria. I was wondering how to propose it to Netherlands." And this is music to my ears because the one thing you really don't want as the Netherlands is an England France, because they're together here
Yes,
in
because then
North
you just
America,
die.
they will crush you. They're together here in the Caribbean, they will crush you. They're not really going to kill you immediately in Africa, but particularly in Europe, you are very, very vulnerable to an England France. So you don't want an England France as the Netherlands. So to come into the game and see that England was already making all these noises about attacking France was beautiful. However, I do need to mention how our press went because England came to me and came in very firmly saying, hey, I want to hard ally with you. I don't want to do any bounces with you. I want to move to the English Channel, so I don't want to bounce with you in Southern Bight or anything like that. I'm going to attack France and I'm going to snipe the English Channel. I'm thinking, okay, that's good. I'm glad to hear that you're looking at doing this. And they said, oh, by the way, I'm also going to tell France the exact opposite of what I just told you. I am going to tell them that I'm hard allying with them and that I don't want them to bounce the English Channel because they want to get in. And that they're telling France they're going to move into the Southern Bight, which we're DMZing, which would be great. And I mean, if you were me, what would you think hearing this?
In the best case, there is no way to know which one is actually happening.
Exactly. And Southern Bight is adjacent to my capital and also one of the dots I want to get in the first year. So it's very, very risky to not have anything to do with Southern Bight. So basically,
Does it
I
also
thought.
is it adjacent to Utrecht?
Sorry? No, Utrecht is not
Is
adjacent to Southern Bight.
okay.
No, Amsterdam is adjacent to Waddensee, is the thing there.
That makes it a bit less risky, but still pretty bad.
Yeah, not quite so bad. And France also doesn't want England in the Channel because of Nantes, and also Ghent if France ever wants it. But Ghent really is a Dutch dot, so. But it's very, very risky for me to leave Bight open early because that's one surefire way to kind of die early. So yeah, I look at this and I think I believe England because of the filthy French chat, but I also think that they are telling me and France the same thing, and it's a 50-50 which way they go, and I could just go to France and talk. Now, France was not on for the first hour of communications. And then when France came on, I said, I'll give you a little bit of time to catch up on what's going on. And then I said, hey, how was your early chats with England? And they said, well, they told me they're moving to the Southern Bight. And I said, oh, that's really weird. They told me they're going to the Channel. And oh my god, so you can now see the forging in fire of the relationship between the Netherlands and the French early on in this game because of what England was doing. So yeah, basically France and I went to each other and we're like, okay, this guy is playing both sides. We've found this out 1 hour into the game. We are golden and we are locked in together. At this stage, I did think truly that England was going to side with me if I wanted it. So I liked the idea of having both options, but I thought the number one way to get England and France fighting is to make France think that England's attacking it. So that was definitely.
Yeah, I feel like the word. I feel like the problem with the approach they took, where they tell you that they're telling the opposite thing to France, is, I mean, you would kind of worry about them doing that anyways. But with them being open about it, the problem is that you can just approach France knowing what England has been telling them, and you can exactly what happened can happen much easier, where you can say, oh, they told me this. You don't have to guess what they have been pressing France.
Yeah. And I was shitting myself while I was typing this to France because I was like, am I ruining a good thing? Am I possibly going to turn England against me? Am I going to make England and France go, hey, Netherlands sold you out, we need to kill them? You know, all this kind of thing can happen.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was like, is this the wrong move? And I've read France's Void, and they were thinking exactly the same thing. They were going, oh my god, am I going to turn the two of them against me? Like, yeah, what's going on? This is terrifying. So that's the bulk of that. And a lot of this also affected North American communications because England said, well, I don't want to bounce in Connecticut. I want to be opening up to Estuary or Maine and see if I... They were trying to get me to open to Oneida, I think is what they were talking about. So they wanted me to go for Ville Marie in the first year instead of just go for Philadelphia, which is very, very bold.
Okay.
And they were telling France the opposite. They were saying, hey, you should go into Seneca and Oneida so that we can really crush Dutch immediately. And I think it's pretty clear what England was trying to do, was just get the two of us fighting and then decide later what he wanted to do.
Yeah, because after spring or fall moves, they can just pick whichever side they're actually... Well, no, actually, they would have to make the correct moves in spring. So
or they could just play safe and then decide. So
yeah, that's also true. But I think if they play safe, you two can come together. I feel like playing safe is riskier because then the other two people can just come together and say, okay, we've been tricked by England, let's go kill them.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm guessing they were hoping to side with one of you. I don't know which one. Although
I've read the Void and they wanted to side with me, so I was correct on that read.
Okay.
But I still think that what I did was the correct play because not to spoil too much, but France believed me and we ratted out England. So I'll talk about some other areas of the map because, I mean, a lot of stuff is fairly simple, but I wanted to open to Philadelphia and that looked to be the way we were going because I said to England, I'm happy if you want to go after France. I don't think I'm going to hard commit. I really would rather just secure my pre-core, particularly because you're going for Catalba and all of that. So England was fine with that when I suggested that. And in the Caribbean, we agreed to have the normal bounce in Guadeloupe to make sure that I can walk into Puerto Rico and England can walk into Guadeloupe at the end. So France decided not to go for Guadeloupe. They decided to get Kalina, which I'm fine with because one or the other, it's not really going to affect me too much. France asked me early if I would leave them Belém, which I didn't love, because I asked them if they were going to Guad, and they said, no, I'll leave you that area. And I'm thinking, well, no, you're leaving England that area. But I said, no, sorry, I think I need to take Belém in year one, because Bellem's a pretty natural Dutch dot in year one.
Yeah, that's a bit greedy.
Yeah, no, but to their credit, they didn't push it very hard. I said, no, sorry, my plan is to go for Amazonia and Belém because they're They're the really securable ones because all the others are being gone for. I decided early in the game I wanted Moritstad to go to Cape Coe because I've got my nice pre-core there. And I thought, I'll lock that in. I'll be friends with Portugal and France. Yeah, so I should talk about Portugal press for a second because Rabbit Jam was the first Portugal player, and we hit it off immediately, and we were yapping like there was no tomorrow. So lots and lots of talk early, and there was lots of talk about who we're going to friend with. And one of the things France did with the England debacle was that France went to Portugal instead and said, by the way, England's playing both sides and we're going to rat them out. And I'm thinking, why the fuck would you tell Portugal this? Like, this is our secret that we've uncovered. But then Portugal come to me and they say, oh, so it sounds like England's the odd one out. Let's go kill them. And I think, oh, fucking hell yes. We're talking about how we split these dots down here because Portugal had come to me to talk about how we were all going to rat out England and we were all going to kill England. Portugal, France, and I were a little bit of a Three Musketeers early because I trust France a bit more now because of what Portugal's saying. Because I think why would France rope Portugal in on this if France is just going to secretly side with England? So we agree. I get Cape Coe, France gets Mapondo, and Portugal gets Sakalava as a decent split there. Okay, Africa here. I'm of course talking to Congo, and immediately they say, "Yep, I'd love to be friends as well. This division of the dot here is really nice for us." And they say, "Would you rather take Sao Tome or it was would you rather take St. Helena or Mandara?" And I say, "My fleet's going to be busy elsewhere. I'm going to Cape Coe, so I'd really like to take Mandara, please." And they say, "That's fine. I'll take Baya, Ngala, Benguela, and St. Helena." So we agree that Congo goes to St. Helena early. And we've got a nice little division here. And I like this because if I can go Mandara straight away, I don't have to take Benin straight away, and I can keep it as a pocket. If I walk up to House Estates, I walk up to Mandara. England and I aren't planning any bounces, and at this stage, I do believe England is wanting to work with me, so I'm not worried that England's going to march on Great Hydra, because I think we're probably going to be fine there. Let's go up to Europe for a second, because obviously this plays into what's happening with England and France as well. And France really wants me to go to the Southern Bight in order to try and bounce something out. And particularly because they're in their mind, oh, we don't know what England's going to do. In my mind, I'm pretty sure that England's going to the Channel based on press. But I also was thinking, well, maybe I should go to the Bight just to be safe. It's hard, though, because if France gets into Rheims, which they will to go to Luxembourg, Reims, there's my French pronunciation, they can bounce me out of Ghent or support themselves into Ghent if they get into the Channel. So it's a little bit worrying if I'm not in there immediately. So I'm kind of wanting to go to Ghent, but I agree with France that I'll go to the Bight. And Utrecht's going off to Bremen, and there's no real debates there. It's all looking fine. I'm getting on fine with everyone. Poland, I should mention. Poland, their press was not good with anyone.
Yeah, I read some of that, yeah.
Yeah, and it became very clear very early that Poland was going to be the odd one out. And particularly when I was talking to Dyer, and Dyer was saying, yeah, I think I'm going to hit Poland here. And of course I'm saying to Dyer, you've got to be careful because Zumtol down here is very dangerous, so make sure you don't leave yourself too open to the Ottomans. But I'm happy to hear that Austria is going after Poland because I think that's going to create an enemy and I can capitalize, which would be nice.
It gives you a bit more room to breathe.
Exactly, yeah. If I don't have France, Austria marching on me or something like that, or Sweden, Austria, or Poland, Austria, or whatever triple can happen. The next area is this tricky little area here around India and Indonesia, which is all a little bit entwined because of the Indian Ocean here. And so we've got the three dots around India kind of for the three of us to go for, the three colonials here. And I look at this, and Venad is now connected to Ceylon, and it never used to be. So Portugal going to Madurai always used to be fine for the Netherlands because there was no danger. But if Portugal opened to Venad to take Madurai, they can just snipe Ceylon in the fall.
Yeah, now it's tricky, yeah.
Yeah. So I say to Portugal, hey, I would prefer if you went to Maldives. And they said, yep, that's fine with me. I'm happy to go to the Maldives. And of course, that means they're going to Laccadive Plateau, not Venad. So I'm very happy about that. And then, because I'm wanting to show that I'm easy to work with and you're not going to march on me and you're not going to walk into the Bight and all of this, I say to England, I don't care if I get Madurai or Aceh. Because, of course, Aceh with that little English pre-core could be really attractive to an English player to go, oh, well, instead of walking to Madurai, I'll walk down to Aceh.
And it also directs them a bit towards Ayutthaya and away from you.
Exactly,
So-
but also away from Portugal. So, I mean, it's all a little bit of a mix because you could potentially want people to do that kind of thing. And I might like having a border with Ayutthaya myself. I mean, who knows? So, maybe it's better for the touch to go one way or the other. I think in this circumstance, me leaving it up to England was fine. I basically said I'm happy whichever way you want to go. And at first they said, I would really like to get Aceh. I'd like to get this pre-core down. I say, that's fine. I'll go to Madurai. And then later on in the phase, they say, oh, actually, I've changed my mind. Can I please have Madurai? And I say, that's fine. I'll go to Aceh. That's fine. If anyone's wondering, yes, I know Ceylon can't get to Aceh in 2 moves, but the idea is that Java opens to Palembang and then moves to Aceh, and Ceylon moves Indian Ocean to Palembang. So that's the way Ceylon can get Aceh, is by proxy that way. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have a particular view on if Madurai or Aceh is better for the Dutch?
Aceh gives you a bit more presence in the sort of general island area. It does leave Ceylon, I feel, very alone. It makes it a bit hard to leave there if you build, and you have to build very often so that you don't leave it undefended.
Exactly.
Without Madurai.
It makes...
But also, taking Madurai feels like you're getting too involved in India, where England and Portugal sort of want to divide it between themselves anyways.
Yeah, I agree.
And there you feel like the third one out. Although maybe not in this case, where England is getting a bit coalition.
Of course. But, I mean, the more natural line for the Dutch to push into India after going to Madurai is to build an army Ceylon and go for Cochin. And I'm not looking to attack Portugal here. So it's a bit more difficult because there's no real good attack on Madras early. And, in fact, the attack on Madras is just as good from Aceh as it is from Madurai, really, because you can go Bay of Bengal.
Yeah, I feel like attacking Madras, you would do that by taking Aceh first.
Yes. So I'm fine to go to Aceh, and I say to England, that's all fine and dandy. Now, this is a very interesting early area for the game, because we've got a couple of different colonials around here and Ayutthaya, and I'm looking to be friendly with Ayutthaya, but I'm also getting on very well with Portugal. And a pretty standard opening here is for Spain to get Zamboanga and Cotabato, for Netherlands to get Banjarmasin and either Dani or Flores, and for Portugal to get either Dani or Flores. So the idea is that Portugal and Netherlands get one each, and again, I wanted to be very friendly to Portugal, show them I could be worked with, and so I said to them, hey, I insisted upon you getting Maldives. Down in Indonesia, you get to pick whether you want Dani or Flores. And they said pretty early, yeah, I want to go for Dani. I want to get my pre-core down there. That'll be pretty good. And here begins one of the more controversial conversations in, well, let's say the entire game, which I know is insane for before the first move. But
feels a bit early.
It has to do about Flores, and I have reread the conversation, and I feel vindicated in how I proceeded. But it will be a while until we get to why it matters. Basically, Portugal are saying to me, like, hey, I really like working with you, but the idea of you going to Flores year 1 when Timor's open kind of makes me a little bit nervy. Is there any chance you could talk Spain into letting you get Cotabato? And I'm thinking, oh, gee, that's going to be a bit of a hard ask, because where does Spain really go if they're not going to Cotabato? And I said, I'll see what I can do, because I don't want to tell Portugal, no, I'm not doing that. Even though in my mind, I'm thinking, this is crazy. There's no way Spain is not going to take Cotabato. And I'm chatting with Spain whenever they got on, which, as you know, was not very often. And so chats with Spain happen about Indonesia, and they say, oh, by the way, I think I'm going to open to the Bonin Islands. And there's an obvious issue here, which is because they're saying it to me as though, like, oh, you aren't allowed to go for the Bonin Islands because I'm going for the Bonin Islands. And just as Danny and Flores are like a one for Portugal, one for Netherlands, one area I haven't touched on yet is that Ryukyu Islands and Bonin Islands are a one for one with Netherlands and Tokugawa. Like, the Tokugawa either takes Ryukyu or they take Bonin, and Netherlands gets the other one. It's kind of a pretty standard opening. Yet with Toku, basically, again, I said to them, I don't really mind. This was my tactic coming in, was just as many of these 50-50s, I don't mind. I'm going to let the other person decide so that they see me as friendly and amenable. Because there's so many of these across the map. And so...
but what's the deal then that you're going for Bonin?
No, the deal then was that I was going for Ryukyu. And that
Tokugawa
would
take
problem. Bonin. Yeah, and then Spain say to me, oh, I think I'm going to open to the Bonin Islands. And I'm like, okay, sure. And I chatted with them. I was like, oh, do you reckon that's a good idea? Like, do you reckon Tokugawa will go there? Yeah, yada, yada. And then they were like, no, I think I'm going to do this. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll support you in that. Like, that'll be fine. But then I say to them, if you're going to Bonin, I think I need Cotabato. Because I'm wanting to be very friendly to everyone, and I'm wanting to show Portugal that I can be worked with. And Spain agrees for me to take Cotabato in year one, which is quite something. Is not very normal, and is very weird because they can deny it, but they have no real reason to tell me to go there and then deny it, because they miss out on a guaranteed dot if they're doing it. So... they say this, and I go to Portugal, and Portugal's a bit nervy, and they're saying, hey, I'm not really sure I'm comfortable with you coming to Cape Coe because I really kind of want to establish a stronghold in South Africa. And I say, hey, I've got some really good news for you. I'm going to Cotabato. And they go, oh my God, you are my best friend. You are the best ever. And in the conversation that follows this, I make it clear that me going to Cotabato does not mean they get Flores, because that would just be a free dot to Portugal for no reason. And I say, like, no, I'm going to Cotabato, and then Flores is my pocket, which I'll pick up in year 2. And the reason this is a favor to you is because I'm not going to be on your border in Timor. And Portugal say, that's really great. And we're going to put that one to the side, and foreshadowing is a literary device used to highlight future struggles. So I'm going to Cotabato, and I'm looking at this. I think this is pretty good. So that's basically all of my openings kind of set. Late in the phase, France comes to me, and they say, I feel like I don't have much to lose by confronting England here. I'm thinking, no, don't do this, because if you confront England, England will think that I leaked, and there's the chance that England goes, oh, fuck the Dutch, we're going to kill them, and all of this. But France is pretty set on doing this, and I kind of go, okay, I'll back you up in this if you go and do this. But I would like it if you didn't mention that I leaked England's plan to you. And France goes to England and says, hey, I've heard from a whole bunch of different people that you're going to attack me. And the English are like, no, I've never said that at all. People are lying to you. They're gaslighting you. And France said, hey, I would really like to insist on a bunch of bounces. So France say, bounce me in the English Channel, please. And England reluctantly accepts. England then says, well, I can't bounce you in Bight, but France is now not very happy with me here, so you need to bounce me in Connecticut. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fine. If France opens to Seneca, they can bounce me out of Philadelphia, but I'm fine bouncing Connecticut because I don't think France is going to do that. So I agree to bounce in Connecticut. And I believe there's some debate about what's happening with Bratterhlid with England and Portugal. Did you hear much about Greenland at this stage, or were you too far away?
No, Greenland wasn't really my concern.
Yeah, so I think basically both England and Portugal have a stake on Radiclid, and at different stages, different people were going to have it. But there was certainly worry from both of us that Bermuda might come in and collapse either on my position or on Port Royal and kind of go that way. And we're thinking, oh God, Portugal's going to be absolutely running this game if, England and France are fighting. And secretly, I'm kind of happy with this because I think if me and Portugal are running this game, the two of us have just gotten on well, and there's never going to be any disputes about dots that we left as pocket dots in year one. So Portugal and I are going to be the best of friends forever, and we can control this game while I have France in my pocket, is what I'm thinking, kind of coming into this. So I'm happy to be friendly to everyone, but ready to screw England over. So I don't do anything anti-England in year one, and let's move to moves because we've spoken for quite a while now before the first move. But yeah, here we go. Here's spring moves. Let's go to your position first. So is there anything out of the ordinary?
No, the first move goes pretty nicely. I get to go to Aleut's Inuit left that to me.
Yep.
And I send the one army to Salish. With so the deal between me and Inuit was this way we are both sort of 50-50 on whether we double or not. Yeah. And we are also collapsing on Atapasca, so the war against them should go well.
Because we got this fleet to Hudson Bay.
Yeah, that one is particularly nasty. That is getting changed in the next update, and it really should.
Yeah, it's very
this is just really. I feel like this is too easy to do to Atapasca, and really the only one they can counter is Ute by bouncing Salish.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, because they don't have many options. Because Inuits can support themselves into Ute-Shoshone.
And that always denies Atapasca at least one dot because they either lose Ute-Shoshone or don't get Chilcotin.
Exactly, because sure they can retreat into Chilcotin, but that means you're not going to Chilcotin. So yeah, it's very risky, particularly because that's their pre-core and they really want to secure Chilcotin.
Exactly. Yeah. Other than that, it seems nice. Spain doesn't do any.
You're not worried nasty. They're going for Hawaii.
No, Hawaii was arranged. I'm getting a koala, and my fleet is going to Aleut.
Oh,
that was part of the deal.
Yeah. So you get Aqua, and they get Hawaii. Yep.
Yeah, and I feel like this was a much easier sell to Inuit than it should have been. But the deal with them was I get Aleuts because that way we are both equally likely to double because they might or might not get Tuchone, and I might or might not get something from Salish.
Yes. Yeah.
And then if I didn't go for Aleuts, I couldn't double. That was basically my pitch to Inuit. And they were very amenable to it.
Yeah, that's a really good way of framing it. And I mean, Inuits is a lovely person. I have fond memories of them from World of Chaos. They ended up with the most dots in Africa at the end of the game.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, because they stabbed their own alliance and ended on 6 in the final turn of the game. Which I know a lot of people were unhappy about, but I was happy to see because it was a bit of karma for the alliance that killed me. Or that tried to kill me. Yeah. So, yeah, that's the Congo line for those playing at home. Yeah, so anything else you want to chat about with your position?
No, I think that was... was it obvious in spring that you guys are fighting, or... Oh, yeah.
What? Who's fighting?
France, England, and the Netherlands are fighting.
So this bounce was arranged. But it's very obvious that France and England are fighting.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if that happened right away or in fall, but I remember thinking that basically the first spring went about as well as it could have gone for me. Atapasca didn't see the stab coming. Spain didn't do anything funky, and the colonials are immediately fighting each other. I felt very confident with my first phase.
Yeah, no, it's a really good first phase on the board for Ute-Shoshone. That's for sure. Yes, so we may as well start over here in North America. I don't know if you've seen any of my Void, but I tried to divide things up so I could stay sane. And I often went kind of west to east on the map when I was planning all my moves and writing my thoughts. So we may as well do the same thing here. So let's start in North America. I've got a planned bounce in Connecticut, which is exactly what I expect. England opens to Maine to try and go for Port Royal because they're thinking they can get 2 on Port Royal and deny. I think they want to deny France being able to go for Anticosti properly here, but with the Inuits as well, because I think there's something going on here because France is opening here. I don't believe France got on with the Inuits early.
Early, I'm not sure. I feel like I don't remember, but I feel like someone else also, either Inuits or Athabasca, knew that France and England were fighting before it happened.
I think it was Inuits.
Yeah, so I think France and Inuits were on good terms in the first phase.
Okay.
I'm not completely sure because I remember thinking that apparently the entire world knew that France and England were fighting, except for me.
But that also could have been England telling Inuits, hey, I'm going to attack France.
For some reason, I don't remember Inuits being pro-England, but I'm not sure.
Yep.
Let's just move on.
Well, I think I may now be remembering why you don't think Inuits were pro-England, but we will leave that drama till later in the game. Yes, so France moves full out on England here. They move into Mohawk while England moves out of Falmouth. So England is really, really in a lot of strife here because Maine, they don't get into Gulf of Maine with this bounce, and France has their foot on their throat. And I asked France, I remember, not to move to Seneca in the spring because I wanted to have Philadelphia guaranteed. I just said, hey, this leaves it open if you want to go to Menominee or Seneca because you can always keep Seneca as a pocket dot, is what I'm hoping to try and sell to them. And they're saying, I think I'm just going to take Seneca in the fall. But we're very, very happy with this North America because France and I are planning to kill them, which is great. Down here, there's a lot of pretty standard stuff here. We've got the bounce here. Poland goes for Barbados, not Caracas, which I'm a little sad about, but it's okay because it means that Spain is less likely to dot me in Pamerbo. Because that's one of the
nice because they have a guaranteed dot.
They can just go to Caracas. So it's one of the nasty things Spain can do to the Netherlands is just snipe Pamerbo immediately because Netherlands almost always wants to go for Amazonia and Belen.
Oh yeah, and Spain can always go for Orinoco. That's not.
Yes.
It's sort of a natural place to go.
Yeah, because
so you can go there as Spain without really pissing off Netherlands.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, I tried to get them to open like, hey, can Panama go Bay of Panama and Bogota go Cartagena? And they're like, oh, but Poland might go for Caracas. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to push this. I'm not going to tell you what to do because if I antagonize Spain, they might just take Pamerbo. So yeah, I think the deal is that Spain gets Japura, Aymara gets Ipurina, and I get Amazonia here. I'm quite happy to see Portugal go to Minas Gerais and not Bahia, because if they go to Bahia, they can snipe Moritstad, which is not nice. So I'm very happy about this. I get into the SAO. I'm the only one in SAO, which is really nice. Let's go to Europe. And we see a bounce in the channel, and I end up going to Ghent. Because I'd said to France, look, if you guys are bouncing in the channel, I don't want to go to the Bight and annoy England for no reason, because I'm not going to be able to get London in the fall. So I'm just going to go to Ghent.
Yeah, you get nothing out of it.
Yep. A lot of pretty standard things here, I think. Ottomans walk into Split immediately, which I know was not agreed. Because Dyer immediately ran to me complaining about Zerntol, which is great. We've got a couple of very important moves to look at here, and I don't know if you remember all the memes about this move in particular.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
That is a very brave solo unit.
It really is, because they're giving up any claim on Targoviste or whatever, or going for Berlin or whatever, and they're just going straight, I'm adjacent to your capital, and 2 other dots that are both empty. So,
I think it's actually similar to my attack on Athabasca in a way, because my attack was also just one army going towards their cores, but this is a bit different because, at least in my case, we were both like Athabasca was being crushed from both ends. Here it's just Austria.
Yes, exactly, and because here we have Sweden not opening anti-Poland at all, and Gdansk moves to the Baltic Sea.
Yeah.
Which was also a breach of DMZ. And They're clearly trying to pressure Sweden in Stockholm here. So Poland makes a
Yeah,
mortal
Poland isn't
enemy
making too many
of
friends.
Sweden. And as we've already spoken about, everyone was getting the vibe that Poland was going to be the odd one out. So I think Austria was like Sweden's favorite person at this moment because Poland have just attacked them and Austria's just come in from the top rope, like absolutely slamming them down.
Yeah, yeah. I think Poland rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I know that much later on, I was asking France about their relationship with Poland, and the answer was something along the lines of "worst press I ever had,
Yeah,
unrecoverable."
I would agree with that. Poland was doing badly, and their response to that was to blame everyone else because they said, "Why would you lie to me for no reason?" And the response is, "Well, there's always a reason."
Yeah.
Yeah. So they basically thought that everyone was out to get them for no particular reason. But yeah,
Which made everyone out to get them. So
exactly, and particularly, unfortunately, I think because this was so readable, Ottomans exploited Austria here by going to split because they went, well, Austria's going to attack Poland, obviously. So I'm just going to take split in the spring and have pressure on Trieste, which means that Austria might not be able to do what they want here. So I think that was very smart from Zuntal again, but immediately I started ramping up to Dyer and saying, hey, you need to watch out for the Ottomans. You need to watch out for the Ottomans. Like, turn around. Look at that. So that's Europe. There's nothing very exciting in Africa here.
everything according to
Everyone's
plan.
opening as normal. Yeah, we see Delagoa go for Sakalava. We see Reunion go for Mapondo or Kowe, of course. But yeah, it all looks pretty normal in Africa here. So not too much to comment on. India here as well, all looking very normal. We get the normal Hyderabad bounce in the fall, and here's what I was talking about. Mughals moves into Gondwana, and this is to give them
That they can force it now.
pressure against Hyderabad and Rajamahendri. And of course, they give up a little bit of pressure on places like Bamo and Rinpunga. And of course, we see Ming moving west. So it comes at a cost for the Mughals, of course, but it does give them some play here. They can either force Hyderabad or force Portugal not to take Bellari. And Portugal almost always takes Bellari here.
Yeah, because it's very early to pick a fight with the Mughals that strongly to sacrifice a dot for it.
Exactly, and you can build in Goa and go at Hyderabad if you really want to attack Mughals. So yeah, I think the Gondwana move here is smart to guarantee Hyderabad because you really want to be able to not just get the dot but also build an army in Burhanpur. So that's that there. Yeah, so we see Spain do the opening here that allows them, well, they could still go for Cotabato, but they can also go to Zamboanga. Yeah,
Is there a reason they didn't go to Zamboanga directly? Did they say anything, or
I think they just wanted options.
okay.
Because, for instance, let's say I open to Halmahera C and Celebes C. Like, I've got two on Zamboanga.
Yeah, if you went very anti-Spain for some reason. Yeah.
Exactly. So there's a few options there. So I think it's just kind of, pivotable. And if they want to do something with Ayatai or they want to do something with me or whatever. Yeah, it's all fairly standard. I'm moving into Palembang. I'm in Ino, and I've got a couple of options here because, of course, Seychelles is, well, Adjuran's going to take Seychelles, but Reunion, of course, is going to be vacant here. So, and we'll come back to that. And Portugal make their opening to go to either Danny or Flores. So pretty standard. Yeah, Mapuche get into the South Pacific is the other thing there. Yeah, so I go to Ryukyu Islands. It's a little bit nervy because we've got a fleet in East China Sea, an army in Kyushu, and a fleet in Kuroshio. And of course, if Tokugawa hears that Spain is going for Bonin, Tokugawa might go, well, how about I just support myself into the Ryukyu Islands to make sure I get a dot?
Did you talk to Ming? What's your press with them like?
Absolutely, I talk with Ming. Oh, I forgot to mention. Ming was another player I knew because Ming played France in Orchid. I totally forgot to mention Liz. Yeah, so the first Ming player was Liz, who was France in Orchid. I knew them from that game a bit, and we had good early press. And I was saying, hey, I'm happy if you want to go after Tokugawa, that could be good for me. And they're, of course, saying, yeah, I would love you to try and get me into Kyushu. I'm fully aware that they're probably saying to Tokugawa, I would love you to get me into Ryukyu. All that kind of thing, playing both sides of it all. But Yeah, so I want to make sure I'm friends with someone around here. And so we see pretty standard stuff across the board there. Were there any other spicy moves this phase? Safavid's kind of open fairly anti-Mughals. I don't know if that's huge. I think the biggest moves this phase were definitely Poland and Austria.
Yeah, and the France-England War.
Yes, and the France-England War. So and the Atha Crusher. So yeah, not to be underestimated. So
Yes.
they're probably the three biggest areas on the board there. We can go to the clean map. So let's have a look at the Ute position again. What's your plan?
Pretty much everything except for Salish is pretty apparent. Spain can't mess with me, Inuit neither. France and England are otherwise occupied. Athabasca comes to me after the spring moves. Not too surprised, but like disappointed, I guess. And they're selling me on letting me go into Chilcotin, and they will just defend against Inuit. And they're saying this way I double. We can sort of peace out because I don't have too many things attacking them, and they can focus on fighting Inuit, which I considered more than I was expecting because I sort of liked. I liked Atha's press, and I think that influenced me a bit too much. But ultimately, I don't think it makes. Press, yeah, it's either here at this point that a bunch of people come to me mentioning, "Oh, I liked Atha. Why are you attacking them?" I felt like I was attacking everyone's favorite player.
Yeah, Jenga seemed like a really chill person, and I was like impressed, like, "Oh, damn this Ute," and all that, like, yeah. As you say, when it doesn't affect you at all, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think they were from New Zealand also.
Oh, okay. That's right. Yes, Dyer made a chat with me, Jenga, and him, and like, the Australia New Zealand chat. Like, I can't remember what the name of the chat was, but I remember that was a chat that was made early. So I think that was my introduction to Jenga.
And in addition to that, I think they also make a threat, I guess, where if I don't go for this, then they'll just give the same deal to Inuit and go after me in the next phase.
Yeah, so prisoner's dilemma.
Yeah, but also I don't think it makes much sense for me to go for it here because I wasn't completely sure that I would be able to piece out Atha. I didn't know how. They definitely wouldn't trust me after this. So no matter what happened, I would need to have a lot of units on the border, probably. And it made more sense for me and Inuit to just finish the attack and kick them out. I think I also approach Inuit and mention, hey, Atha is offering me something along those lines, and Inuit claims they're offering the opposite thing to them, which makes sense. I'm not sure if they actually were. I think they were.
Yeah, that would be a good one to check press about, to see if they were offering the same thing.
And then there's some guesswork. I mentioned to Athabasca pretty openly that I'm going for Assiniboine because I want to pocket Lakota if I can.
Yes.
And I say to them because in their place, I don't think it's worth it to them to deny me a dot. And
when they can just go to Ojibwe. Yeah.
Exactly. Like denying me a dot is worth less than them getting one in this position. And if I didn't tell them I was doing it, then there was a risk they might go for it because it leads to a better position. So I'm pretty open about that. And then my response to Athabasca is that something along the lines of, I'm not sure if I'll go for the piece you offered. If I do, I won't tell you before moves. And then at some point, I decide to go for, I think, Tsutina, because it felt that one felt the most, the least likely to be defended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is tricky to know because like they have to look at defending Chipewyan.
Yeah, so Oji Creek has to choose between like keeping the dot it's in, covering Chipewyan, going to Cree. Winnipeg has to choose between getting any dot and covering Tsutina. I felt like Tsutina was the most likely to not get covered. And I thought that like if Atha was lying to me, then they might cover either Chilcotin or Tliko, so or both. So those felt riskier. So I just went for the safest one.
Nah, that's a good call.
And also, it would leave my armies in Assiniboine and Sutina kind of closer, so it's more defensible.
Yeah, no, that's a good point as well, because Tliko can be crushed in on if something goes wrong and Atha does get a bunch of builds.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a bit dangerous. Yeah, I think that's a reasonable call. Things are good with Spain as well. You're just getting your neutrals, I assume.
Exactly. I'm going for Arapaho. They are picking up the neutrals. Everything is chill.
Yep, that's a good call. Yeah, so North America here, I'm going to go for Philadelphia, and France is planning a bunch of different anti-England things, and I don't particularly mind what they do as long as they're attacking England. And we will see soon enough how France's North America against England goes in year one. If you know, you know. And down in the Caribbean here, we can see an interesting point of contention, which is that France, of course, can just go for St. Domingo and pick up their normal dot. But they could also go for Bahamas, because very clearly they're attacking England. So England kind of is in a bit of two minds as to whether to go for Bahamas or whether to take their dot in Baracoa. Because Honduras is going to take Jamaica, Mexico is going to take Havana. Channel is the one that should be taking Baracoa, but they don't know exactly what to go for. It's a bit more simple here with me, because I'm just going to go for Puerto Rico. England's going to take Guadalupe. That's fine. We'll leave the Caribbean alone for a second. I'm pretty confident that with this whole setup that Spain should just go for Caracas, because they're making a very early enemy for no reason if they dot me in Palmerbo, which they could do, but it doesn't seem likely for them to do it in year one.
And you have a pretty big border on the other side of the map, so...
Yes, down in Indonesia, yeah. Yeah, so I'm hoping that France do not bounce me out of Belém. I don't fully understand the reasons why, but I've seen a lot of... I studied a lot of Dutch openings before playing this game, and one of the things that is often done is that instead of, you'd think, Sao Sebastião will walk to Belém and Palmerbo will work to Amazonia. Usually people actually do it the other way, and people go J to Amazonia, which is guaranteed, and Caribe to Belém, because I think Caribe is better if you get bounced out by France in terms of being able to then attack Colina. So I think that's the reason why that's often done, is that Netherlands usually go Caribe to Belém instead of J. So that's what I input.
Yeah, that's probably it, yeah.
Yeah, so I did that, and that's why people don't open to Maranhão. I've seen a Diplostrats video where they were playing Blitz Netherlands, and Meme moved to Maranhão just because they wanted to get the Portuguese colour off the map, which is quite funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, people walk into open tiles to colour them for no reason, and yeah. If you know, you know.
There is a moveset later where I decided last minute before orders and deciding whether to change which GPL I'm going to, because I want to paint out a color.
Yes. And there's another moveset.
So I understand the appeal.
Yeah, where I decide to color in a tile, and we will see if that impacts anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm taking these dots in here. I'm in South Atlantic, and this idea was actually first proposed by one of my subs, because they're saying, Cape Coe is a bit of a bait, because it's really hard to hang on to Cape Coe when both France and Portugal are around here, particularly if you're not at war with either of them, because you can't really have a clear path to make progress. So the mind kind of jumps to, well, what could South Atlantic do if it's not going to go to Cape Coe? And of course, one of the options is go to St. Helena, but why would I do that when I'm getting Mandara and Congo is getting St. Helena? Like, I don't want to make an enemy for no reason. I'm planning to attack England, so maybe I should move to the Gold Coast and go after Cormanton really early. But England could just build in Cormanton, so it doesn't look like necessarily a great move.
But England is also not getting too many builds if they're fighting France.
That is true, although still in the first year they start on 14 dots, and they are going to get a lot of builds. Yes, they may have to pick and choose where to go if France gets one over them, but they're still probably going to build in Africa.
Yeah, they're probably not abandoning Africa, yeah. True.
The other option that comes up in discussions as for where my fleet could go, and do you remember this move?
Which fleet, sorry?
This fleet.
I thought it went to Gold Coast.
I did not go to Gold Coast. I went to Leeward Sea.
Oh, okay.
I went to Leeward Sea with the South Atlantic Fleet, and this was proposed, and we were looking at this thinking, if we're attacking England, this is perfect because England's, they've got decent holdings in the Caribbean, but France might have pressure on Bahamas. If I get into Leeward Sea, it means I can really go for Guadeloupe because one of the issues.
Oh yeah, Guadeloupe is almost guaranteed then. Yeah.
Yeah, almost is correct, and we will get there. But yes, one of the issues if you just build in St. Martin and then try and stab England in Guadeloupe is that they can retreat to Leeward Sea because Guadeloupe and Leeward Sea border. So one of the benefits about getting into Leeward Sea is not only does it guarantee it if England are just two there, it also means England can't retreat to Leeward Sea. So it just looked like a really nice way to get my Caribbean absolutely popping was to do this. And I then started using this as a bargaining chip. And I was basically saying to France, like, hey, I'm basically giving you a free dot here because you're going to take Mapondo. So would you be okay if I left you Cape Coe and then maybe got a dot elsewhere? I'll go over the other areas of the map before talking about exactly what happened because there's more drama associated with it. Let's go to England first. The plan essentially is for me to support Nantes to the English Channel, but France is a little bit worried that England and Portugal might be faking them out, and that if England says, I'll bounce you in the Channel, which is what they're saying, that Portugal might just go into Nantes if England holds for whatever reason, or moves to Southern Bight or something like that. So what France and I decide is that I say to England, hey, I'm going to bounce in the Channel too. So that means if England hold, then France and I bounce in the Channel and Portugal don't get into Nantes. So I say to England, I'm bouncing in the Channel with you. So just to make sure that that can't happen. And I put in the order to support France to the English Channel because I want to pick up my neutral and I want to get France going. They want to be able to build in Nantes because we've got this Portuguese fleet. Who knows what it's going to do? All that kind of thing.
How obvious is it to England that you're on France's side at this point?
Not at all. I think they might suspect.
Okay.
Because there was the conversation about where France confronted England, and I think England might suspect that I was one of the leakers, but they certainly don't know it for sure at this point.
And at most, then they know that you leaked, not necessarily that
exactly.
you fully picked France.
Yes, because I think it was this phase actually where they came to me and they said, hey, I think I know it was you. And
yeah, I saw that.
I decided to own up to it, and I just said, "Hey, I mean, what did you expect me to do? You said the same thing to both of us." And I also said to them, like, it doesn't mean we still can't work together now, because yes, I've leaked some stuff to you, but you and France are fighting. France is dead set against you. Maybe we can work against them again. So England knows I leaked, but again, it may be that I'm just working with them.
Yeah, you could also just be opportunistic and. If they present France as a better target, then maybe you go for that.
Yep, totally. Another thing that happens here is I'm going for Bremen here. Poland and Sweden. Sweden hates Poland. Poland hates Austria. So we've got a very interesting situation here where, and Sweden, I had good chats early with Ethan. I had great press with Sweden early on, and they said to me, hey, so I'm going to go for my dots. I assume you'd rather I take Christiania than Kiel. Because, of course, Skagerrak can go to Kiel early. And they're thinking, well, Netherlands is going to rather that I'm not near them. And I kind of took this moment to try and make a really close friend. And I know they hate Poland. They are obviously going to want to attack Poland here. So I say to them, hey, how about you go to Kiel, and then next year I'll support you into Lübeck if you give me Kiel. Which to me seems like a really good plan because I get something out of it. I'm helping them against the person they want. And this plan evolves into, oh yeah, and then I'll move into Kiel now. I'll have Christiania as a pocket dot, and the two of us can decimate Poland. So a really nice plan.
Sweden wants to do in general anyway. So
yes, exactly. So
it's a pretty good deal for both of you, yeah?
Yeah, and of course Sweden could stab me with it. They could just go into Kiel and then attack me in Bremen or whatever. But I mean, it felt
fleet in Baltic
like,
Sea.
Yes,
probably
exactly.
not.
It feels like a decently safe bet that Sweden are going to want friends, and I know they've got a friend in Austria, but having a friend in me as well is going to be really nice. And the other reason I really want Sweden to be my friend is that they can put pressure on England from the north. with fleets. So I'm kind of saying, hey, like maybe we can get you to attack England as well. Sweden don't commit to that immediately, but it's there in the back of the mind bubbling away. So that was just a little bit of press here, and I encourage Sweden to go to Kiel, which some could see as ridiculous, but I think I've justified why I did it. All right. Do you think it was the right move?
No, it seems like the right move, definitely. Especially as Netherlands, I feel like you want, as you said, you want good allies in Europe because you need your capital to survive.
Yeah.
And this gives you a dot next year, unless they stab, and establishes like you two working together. So I think it's a pretty good choice.
Yeah. And particularly when England hates you, you don't want both England and Sweden hating you because they're the ones closest to your main dots. Like, yes, France, but they're right there.
Yeah.
Let's go to Africa. I don't think anything out of the ordinary is happening here. I'm just going to go to House of States and Mandara and pick up my dots. Except, of course, that I'm not going to Cape Coe because I'm going to Leeward Sea.
Leeward, yeah.
Yep. Let's go to Asia. Yeah, so this whole area, this is where more drama starts with Portugal, with Rabbit Jam. And Portugal and I, we kind of were pressing as though we were the two like puppet masters pulling all the strings. Because I got the impression that Portugal liked the idea of pulling all the strings. So I kind of played into that a little bit. And I'm like, we're going to control this game. Because I was like, yeah, I've got like France under my thumb, like, ooh, I'm controlling them, and ooh, you're controlling England, and you're friends with Spain, and all this. So we're like, yeah, we're the two that are going to secretly control all the colonials. But Portugal get a little bit worried that I get on quite well with France, because I don't know if Portugal heard about the Cape Coe thing, but that's very pro-France for me to do, is to leave them Cape Coe. So Portugal start pressing for me to dot reunion. And I don't want to do this because it's going to make France mad. And sure, one dot might not ruin everything, but one dot stabs can ruin a lot of things, as we will see later this game. Yeah, I don't really want to dot reunion, but you can see why Portugal would want me to dot reunion, right? Because Portugal want control over this area, and they don't want France to be able to build. Because
it does feel very direct to just ask you to stab them, or dot them this early on, especially while you're working against England.
Yeah,
it feels like a big ask.
Yeah, and yes, Netherlands dotting Reunion is a known about play, and people talk about, it's actually not too bad for the Netherlands to do this. They can dot Reunion because it means France can't build, etc., etc. But I don't really want to do it because I'm setting up a nice friendship with France, and it kind of became clear to me that Portugal was really worried about how close we were, and was trying to break us up a little bit because they wanted us to be the relationship that governed everything. They wanted Netherlands, Portugal to run it all. So they were like, no, you need to dot reunion. And I had to eventually come out and say, I'm not going to stab France. And I thought that would be the end of it. But Portugal then say, oh, well, how about I tell France that you're going to dot reunion, and that's part of the deal for us to all stay friends, is that Netherlands gets reunion right now. And because Portugal's saying, well, I want to prove to you that it's not that I'm trying to break you two up. So if we can make me out to be the bad guy, then you can dot reunion. I'm like, oh my god. Like, I don't... So yeah,
that's a bit of a weird pitch. I think I saw that chat later, and I was confused because I had no idea I was confused about the three of you fighting over reunion. I saw it getting relatively heated.
It did start to get relatively heated because Portugal was really, really, really insistent on it, and I thought I was trying to like entertain it and kindly say no, but Portugal were really pushing for it, and like it's a good move for me to do it tactically, like just on the board. So
it kind of kills France in that area, but because it kills France in that area is why it's so hard for you to do.
Exactly, yeah, and Portugal were like, no, we really need to insist on it, and I start kind of going to France like, hey, can we maybe agree for this to happen, but maybe in year 2, so that you can still get a build out at the end of this year. And Portugal's like, oh, it kind of needs to be now. And we're like, what do you mean? This doesn't affect you. And they're like, well, yes, it does. It's in the area. And if France can build fleets near me, I'm going to be in trouble. And we're like, Rabbit Jam, you're pushing this way too hard. Like, and at this point, I'm worried that Portugal and France are going to start war. And I'm like, fuck, I need to be the peacemaker. I need to make sure that we're all okay. And I get France to agree to give me Réunion in year 2 and leave them the option of, oh, well, maybe I just don't do that. So, but
and is Portugal okay with that then?
They are okay with that deal because I talked them down, and they were like, "Oh, I don't know what the hell to do." But France is really worried about Portugal at this stage. They're like, "Oh, well, Portugal's definitely setting up to kill me at this point," and I basically have to tell Portugal, like, if you don't agree to this deal, France is going to declare war on you, so please fucking accept this deal. And Portugal's like, okay, I'll back down. And then France said in the chat, okay, how about year 2? And Portugal said, yep, that's fine with me. And France messages me and says, oh, Portugal's just flipping on a dime, I guess. And I'm like, no, I told them to. Like, oh my God, it was so
I can see why it would be a big attack on from France's point of view, because if they lose Reunion year 1, then Portugal just takes Cape Coe and Mapondo after that.
And very clearly that was the reason that Portugal wanted to do that. So
so it surprised me that Portugal was so open about it with France.
Yes. Well, yeah, because I think they genuinely really wanted the Portugal-Netherlands to succeed. But they really wanted to get the jump on France, so they were very, very insistent on this. And the Portugal drama doesn't end there in year 1, because, well, we don't need to get to Flores yet, but this Bonin Islands issue was becoming an issue for me, because at some point Tokugawa was saying to me, like, oh, I think Spain's going for Bonin Islands. So I don't quite know what to do. And I'm like, well, you bounce them out, right? And they're like, oh, yeah, maybe. And I'm thinking, oh, shit, like, is Tokugawa
that's
going to
scary,
attack me?
maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Like, are Tokugawa and Ming about to attack me, and Spain gets Bonin Islands? And Spain at one point said, oh, actually, I'm not going to go for Bonin Islands anymore. And they're like, oh, can I get Cotabato? And I'm like, no, like, I moved to Celebes Sea. I didn't move next to Flores. I cannot pivot now, so I am going to take Cotabato. You had every chance last phase to tell me not to go, and it's too late now. Because, yeah, I can't just go, oh, I'm going to get no dot. Like, that's crazy. So Spain go, okay.
Yeah,
sorry.
It's a weird ask on their part.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know why they would... I assume it has to be some press between them and Tokugawa if they are chickening out of going for Bonin.
Yeah, that is exactly what it was. Tokugawa were like, well, I'm definitely moving to Bonin Islands. And I think Spain were like, oh, okay, I need to back out then. And they realized their mistake, but it's too late. Because, yeah, Spain, of course, should be going for Cotabato and just telling me to go for Flores. Of course, that's what should happen. And sometimes I wonder if that's what I should have done this game, but we will get to that. Yeah, so eventually Spain says, no, I am going to go to Bonin Islands. And I'm really worried that Tokugawa is going to attack me. And so, I mean, okay, I'll give this to you as a hypothetical. If you're Netherlands here and you're worried that Tokugawa is going to attack you, what do you do?
I mean, I'm offering Ming support into Kyushu.
Yes, because if Tokugawa attacks me, it's going to be from Kuroshio Current with support from Kyushu. So I really want Ming to tap Kyushu.
Yeah, and they cannot be offering the same to Ming because then they're losing out a dot. If they don't think they're getting Bonin, then they have to be the one taking Ryukyu
yes.
From you.
Yeah, exactly. So, and chats with me and Liz have been good to this point, and I'd been saying, oh yeah, I might be able to support you to Kyushu. Like, go out that way and we'll see what we can do. And then kind of as this is all happening, I say to Ming, like, okay, I'm going to support you to Kyushu. And they're like, oh, Vlad, you're the best. You're the GOAT. Everything. So I'm pretty happy that the way that Ming responded saying I'm the best was like, oh, okay, I don't think they're going to work with Tokugawa here. Because why would they? Like, if they're going to get a guaranteed one. Because, I mean, I can retreat to Qiantang and build in Formosa and Prescia Nanjing. So it's not great for Ming to stab me here, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that area set up. But I was talking to Portugal, and I said, like, hey, this Bonin Islands thing might cost me Ryukyu, because they might attack me, and it might all be because you were so insistent on me going to Cotabato, and that meant that Spain went to Bonin Islands, which then meant that I might get forced out of Ryukyu Islands. And I'm like, so, like...
very long chain of causation.
Yeah, I definitely need to go to Flores immediately if I'm losing Ryukyu. And because I'm like, yeah, in discussion about Flores... we were saying, oh, okay, either Netherlands will go and pick it up in year 2, or we'll trade it, and Netherlands can get a dot somewhere else, and then Portugal gets Flores. And so we agree, like, oh yeah, if I get forced out of Ryukyu Islands, I just go to Flores and get given a dot somewhere else in recompense by Portugal. Because Portugal are the ones that made this all happen.
Wait, sorry, you said you get Flores and a dot in recompense?
Yeah,
I think Portugal get...
No, no, I get Flores because Portugal are the... Well, I mean, Flores is mine anyway. It's just that Portugal won't get traded something elsewhere, is the idea.
Okay.
So, yeah, because it's them that ultimately wound up with this plan of Spain going to Bonin Islands. So it was causing me issues, and I made that clear to Portugal that, like, hey, this might go pear-shaped, and it's kind of your fault if you do. So... because
did they accept responsibility for that?
They did. They were like, yeah, that's all right. We can do that. Because Portugal and my press was very long and very intense. And I really got on very well with Rabbit Jam. And I thought, okay, the two of us are really, really active presses. We're going to be able to control this game. But all these fights started breaking out. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to just, like, control this person's emotions and just, like, keep them from freaking out too much, because they're getting very paranoid. And because the whole, like, they were asking me not to go to Cape Koei, and then I'm like, oh no, well, I need to, but I'll go to Cotabato to keep you safe. And then they're like, oh, you need to dot reunion. And I'm like, oh, why, my guy, like, this is killing me. So it was very interesting, all this press with Portugal. Quite far in, and this is year 1. So, I mean, yeah, my history...
Year 1 is usually like that, I feel.
Exactly, yep. It takes the longest time because you have to set everything up. So, are you happy to move to moves?
Yes, we can go.
Okay, once more, let's go back to the Ute position. So, this looks very nice.
The Ute position is much better than I had any right to ask for. So Inuit doesn't get a dot because Atha does actually stick with what they offered me.
Yeah.
And they misguess pretty much everything they could have. They lose their capital. The OG Cree army just fucks off to Cree and is completely out of position.
Can't even immediately hit Chippewa Yard again. Like,
that's
terrible.
It's awful. The one unit next to the Great Plains is a bit annoying, but that's more than... That's much better than I was hoping for. I'm pretty sure they...
Spot.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they go +1 this year, right? They lose 2 and they gain 3.
They only gain 2, yeah.
No, 3. They're getting Ute-Shoshone. Inuit is...
yeah, they get Ute-Shoshone and Cree.
And
and Ojibwe. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they lose 2 of their core dots, yeah.
And in the meantime, I'm doubling.
Yes, because you get into Alutes.
I get into Alutes without any contest. Spain is chill. Also, Inuit not completely doubling is fine by me.
Absolutely.
I don't mind. I'm allied with them, but I don't mind them being a little bit weaker. And France and England going for each other's throats is also very nice to see.
Because this is absolutely almost move of the game right here by France.
Oh,
this is absolutely beautiful.
That was really good.
Yeah, because so England try and self-bounce in Falmouth to be able to build the build so that they can have some semblance of pushing back. Because Maine can't do anything because Francis and Port Royal, like, yeah, they get the fleet in, they get to Catawba, but oh my god, England cannot build in Falmouth because it's coming. So,
That
it's
was really well done on that part.
just
Yeah, I thought it was.
disgusting.
I thought it was a guess when I first saw it. I only found out when I read their chat that England apparently told France that they're self-bouncing.
Yeah, and why would you do that?
And
I mean, yeah.
yeah, France just jumped on the opportunity. This was like this completely kills England in North America.
Yes, they're just boned. Is there anything else you want to talk about your position?
Yeah, one more little thing. So after quite a while after I did this phase, I found out that the usual Atta Crusher has the fleet moving up to Chinook, so that you can instead of going for
Yes,
Alus,
to Chilcotin, yeah.
And yeah, and then you're either forcing Chilcotin or going greedy and taking Chilcotin and Tliko.
Yeah.
And I saw in like before these moves, I sort of figured that out as well, because I noticed that most likely after these moves, I am losing Tsutina. There is no way to hold it. But Atha did so poorly that Tsutina is actually fine.
Moving out of Butcher Creek because they have nothing on.
Yeah, I think they were trying to deny Inuit a dot. But it just completely boned them.
Yeah, trying to bounce Inuits in Cree if they don't go for Chipewyan. Yeah, that's a shocker. And also, like, this means you've got position on Inuits as well if you want it, so it's not too bad. Like,
yeah, the option is there. Yeah, and also that's all. I think that's something I'm considering as well, because Atha is not long for this world. So at that point, me and Inuit are going to meet in the middle. And then having a good position on them would be useful.
Yeah.
Whether we war or peace.
Yeah, that's really good. You're definitely coming out better than Inuits in this regard. So I think it's a very nice phase from you.
Yes, there was a lot of beginner's luck in this in this one phase.
Yeah, no, but also I think it's not just luck. I think you managed to press Atha into doing this anti-Inuit stuff, and you managed to capitalize. So, yeah.
No. That stuff I think is fine. Specifically, the army going to Cree, I think that completely ruined them.
Yeah. No, they're completely boned at this point, and France isn't going to be happy about that. And I mean, who knows what's going to happen? So I don't think Atha's making.
Oh, and I think I was also talking Inuit into going to the Hudson Bay to Chipewyan move. I was also talking Inuit into that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if they were going to do it anyways, but that was also that going through. I think it was that and the Cree move that just completely killed Atha.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's pretty crushing, I think. The rest of North America. So yeah, France gets into Anticosti, pretty normal up here. All of this stuff. Bermuda comes into Gulf of Maine, so Portugal get Bratachlid, which I think was discussed about, which is fine. And here we see one more tragic move for England is moving back to the Bahamas instead of going for Baracoa, while France just pick up their neutral. So they've lost another 50.
Yeah, I don't blame England for doing that, because here it would be worth it for France to risk going for Bahamas, because if you get in. Yeah, England is just completely ruined in Caribbean.
Yeah.
So that was a very plausible move.
Yep, and Saint Domingo is a really easy pocket dot to pick up as well. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we noticed this arrow here. From South Atlantic Ocean 5. So I moved to leeward sea and get some really nice positioning on Caribbean.
Yeah, I assume England is not happy with that.
No, they are not happy with this at all, because I've been telling them, hey, I stabbed you. I leaked, but I'm not going to stab you. And then I stabbed them. So, Spain do not dot me in Palermo. They move to Cartagena.
That's very nice.
They get a fleet to Caracas, which is slightly annoying because I don't love a fleet being able to maybe go into Gulf of Paria, but it's dangerous what Spain has in Caracas no matter what it is, because it can go for Palmobo.
Yeah.
France does hold in Colina, which is really nice, so I get into Belém. So my moves go off smoothly. All of this stuff is pretty normal. Everyone gets their guaranteed dot. And here we see the beginning of the end for Aymara. Not to spoil too much, but yeah.
I feel like that one move saved a lot of South American politics.
It changed everything, really, because the triangled very early. And not as early as North America, but certainly pretty early.
It is hard to beat that, yeah.
Yes. So Mapuche goes for the stab on Aymara, and they bounce them out of the Katane, which is pretty brutal. And they're doing all their normal things. Guarani's growing normally, Mapuche's growing normally, and Aymara is not. So Aymara...
Yeah, I think this is when... so I was talking to Aymara because they're a neighbor of Spain, and I think this is where I reach out to Ayutthaya saying, "Oh man, so sorry to see that bounce. That was really nasty."
No, you reached out to Ayutthaya, not Aymara.
Yeah, it was. It took me a couple of phases to learn all of the regional names. And
no, that's totally reasonable. I mean, yeah, Aymara, Ayutthaya, like they're pretty similar. Like, yeah.
Especially because me and Ayutthaya's chat was called Ayute, which could just as well be the Aymara Ute chat.
Oh, that's so true. Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, the two I always mix up in the shorthands are Aju and Ayu because they look so similar.
Oh yeah, I was very close to messing that up as well. The only reason I didn't is because I didn't really talk to Aju until much later on.
Yeah, fair enough. Whereas I had a lot to do with both of them through the game. So
yeah.
So we see Mapuche stab Guarani. Let's go to Europe here, and we see France get into the English Channel. That's all planned. We see Spain get into Kiel, which is lovely. And yeah, Ruthenia to Warsaw is the God, I love Dyer. This is so beautiful. Not going for Krakow, not going for anything, just straight into the capital with a chair from behind. Like, it's gonna get taken, but he doesn't give a shit. He's up to cause chaos. And so Ottomans don't stab because Ottomans could have walked into Trieste, so Zumtol doesn't stab Austria here. Is, I think, an important thing to notice. Spain walks out of Rome, which is pretty key.
Yeah.
They can't build in Naples, so Ottomans have a really nice jump on them. Lots of very normal things, I think, otherwise. In here, I think this was all agreed, although maybe France was meant to be going for
No, the France was meant to be going
to Wallata.
I think this is what started the fight between them and Poland.
France and Poland. Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah, because of course Poland support Portugal and Tiniani, all nice and normally. So yes, Africa. Yeah, this is all looking fairly standard. Everyone's doing their stuff. No one's bouncing anyone. We get Mapondo, we get Sakalava. I don't go to Cape Coe, and I'm leaving that for France, which is pretty easy. Although, of course, Portugal could build an army in Delagoa and cause some chaos. Who knows? Yeah, we get this move here where Safavid stabbed Tiflis. So Ottomans not having a great time Russia gets into Tiflis, Safavid stab them. So there's a bit of a Russia-Safavids going on early. Russia's also working with Sweden against Poland. And yeah, Safavids to Sind.
Decent year for... Oh.
Yeah, poor Mughals. This is pretty crippling for them. Although, really, Multan might be... No, Sind is fine as well because of Ahmedabad being there in the pre-course, so...
Yeah.
Although
this is sort of one of the things that made me not want to play Mughals at all, because everywhere I look, I feel like when I look at Mughals, almost none of their dots are guaranteed, and a lot of their neighbors have a lot of tension over pretty much like every border.
Yes. And we see that when Ming is trying to support Safavids into Yarkand, and Qing is tapping Russia.
Oh yeah.
Russia moved 2 down to Turfan, which was pretty spicy opening, so it doesn't work for them. Let's have a look for me here. Everything's happening as normal. I decide not to dot Reunion, and I decide to take my 2 dots in Indonesia, which is fine. I get into Cotabato. Spain does not stab me.
Nice.
Spain goes to Bonin Islands. And look at this. I support Ming into Kyushu, and they do it.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful. And
Toku also has a pretty brutal first year.
Yes, Tokugawa has the most brutal first year, I think, because they get +1.
+1.
Wait, Athapaska's also +1, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But I think Athapaska's position is significantly worse. But yeah, Toku is a close second.
I don't know. Tokugawa's position's pretty bad. Yeah, it's not good. Were you talking to Toku much? Because of course you guys have North Pacific Ocean to discuss.
I reached out to them, but I didn't have much to talk to them about in the first year. We exchanged pleasantries, I think, and then they soon became very irrelevant. So I don't think we talked much after that.
Yeah, I know they were friends with Inuits, but that was about all I knew from them and North America. So, yeah, Tokugawa not having a good year here. Qing and Ming are working together, which is a little bit scary. Portugal is having free reign down here as well. No, Ming's not doing anything to hold them back, getting into Dongqing and all this. But really, all in all, not much for me to complain about because everyone's taking their normal neutral. I get Cotabato, I get Banjarmasin. So I've got nice control over Borneo already, which...
Pretty standard.
Yeah, I don't plan on attacking Ayutthaya, but you can see that they might get a little bit scared looking at this. But for me...
Yeah, you kind of surround them.
Yes. It's all looking pretty good for me here, particularly because I've made one big enemy in England, but I haven't really made any other enemies except maybe Poland. So Portugal goes +15 out of 16, which is crazy. I go +13 out of 14, which I'm really happy about because part of me wanted... If I had gone for Cape Coe, I would have doubled, which is kind of crazy. And part of me wanted to double just to get the flex because a lot of Netherlands in B2 were doing quite well early on, and everyone was kind of commenting on how well the Netherlands were doing with the new map, with the changes to Africa and the changes to Asia. So I kind of wanted to be the first one to get the double, but I think Leeward Sea is a really good tactical move. So I have
I think it was better. And it also helps with like the Portugal and France relationship
it helps
not
me
being
keep
rolled.
Portugal and France on side, and that will never change. Of course.
Exactly.
So let's go to the clean map here. This is the retreats map where there's going to be some people having to retreat, right? Yes, Tokugawa's going to have to retreat here. I don't think there's many other retreats though, so...
I think that's the only one, yeah.
Yep. We may as well go here. We'll show they retreat to Kyoto, which I'm not sure is the best retreat because they could go to Shikoku and build in Kyoto and immediately have pressure on Kyushu. But
yeah, that's true.
Yep, they do them because they might feel like they have to build somewhere else.
They don't have much. They don't have much to fear from North Pacific immediately, so it's probably best to build there and hope they can diplo their way out of. Problems on the other front.
For them, maybe they could, attack Qing, but also Ming is the one that properly just... I mean, Ming and Qing both just stabbed them as well, but yeah, they can do stuff. Here's the clean map before builds. And let's go to you first. So what are you thinking for builds?
I think it's pretty standard to go 3 armies and 2 fleets here. I would like to have an extra army to fight Athapaska, but I feel like I need fleets because, first of all, Inuit is for sure going to have a lot of fleet presence in the general area, and I need enough to keep both him and Spain in check.
Yes. And a fleet can go to Chile too, right?
Yeah, and it can still pressure Athapaska, although not as well. I think 2 fleets here is the obvious choice.
Yep.
I do have one bit of negotiation here that was really important for me.
Yep.
Because so I knew that the Athapaska War was going to last a little bit longer, and I wanted to send as many troops north as I could. So I wanted to have a good relationship with Spain, and I tried selling Spain on building. If you scroll down a little, on building fleet Saltillo because
Okay. Yeah.
because I really didn't want them to have an army there, because then they can open towards me, and if I don't do pretty defensive moves, they are almost guaranteed to get something out of me.
Yeah, of
And I
course.
really wanted to both establish a sort of ownership over the Great Plains and attack Athabasca.
Hmm.
So having a neutral Spain was really important to me. And it's a bit of a tough sell, but basically I'm selling it to them as part of a long-term alliance
Yeah.
where they build our Fleet Saltillo, Army Mexico City, and then defensively from their point of view, it's the same thing because the army can just move north in case I attack. It doesn't make a difference. And Saltillo, the fleet always moves to Gulf of Mexico.
Yes, and you can say, well, look at England, they're crumbling because they're getting absolutely dicked on. They're back in
Yeah,
Bahamas, they
and
don't
that
have
was part of it
Aragoa.
as well. Yeah,
Another fleet will help you take this all, and an army Mexico City can walk to Belize.
yeah. So I didn't mention the Army Mexico walking to Belize because the pitch I was selling them was under the assumption that the Army Mexico just moves north as if it was Army Saltillo.
Oh, okay.
So
Yep.
it defends against me well. But I was hoping that they would see that if they trust me not to go after them, they can just walk the army down to Belize.
Yeah. So they've got some
Which is
flexibility.
Yeah, and if they do that, it's even better for me because I never explicitly asked them, but we both showed each other trust because I'm not planning to going against them, and if they move the army south, that's a very demilitarized border between the two of us, and we're establishing trust.
Yes.
So eventually they go for it,
Yep.
or at least that's what they tell me.
Yeah, that makes sense. One important thing that happens this build phase is that I've gone plus 13, not 14. And I'm getting on well with Portugal, and I'm thinking, oh, well, I'm going to be moving to Flores this year, so I don't want Portugal to freak out because they are a very paranoid player. So I've got one wave to chuck down somewhere, and I decide not to build in Makassar in Indonesia. And this is because I'm thinking, well, I can build in Manado and I can walk down to Flores, and I'm planning on being friends with all these people. I don't have any enemies in Indonesia, so why would it matter if I don't have another fleet here? And if I build two, they might be worried that I just march on them. So I say to Rabbit Jam, like, hey, I'm going to wave in Makassar, and Manado will walk down to Flores. And Portugal responds and says, what? Flores is mine. And this is the drama I was foreshadowing before, because Portugal basically said, oh, no, when you said you were going to Cotabato, that was you saying I would get Flores. And I was like, no, I said that we might be able to trade Flores for something somewhere else. And I was kind of saying to them, maybe I get Maldives and I'll give them Flores as some kind of a trade. And they were like, no, like the reason I was so happy when you went to Cotabato was because you were giving me Flores. And I'm like, I immediately scrolled back up to my messages and showed them. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I was in chat. I was like, okay, so people in my void were telling me you were going to try and take Flores, and I said, no, I don't believe that because Rabbit Jam is my friend and would never do that. And I was like, this is very, very cheeky from you here, Rabbit. And they're like, no, it's genuinely not. Like, you're breaking the deal. And I'm like, no, look at these messages. And I think we took a break for a couple of hours, and they came back and they were like, I've just reread the messages, and I think you might be right, Netherlands. I think this is a misunderstanding. So I'm like, I believe, and have read Portugal's Void, I do believe this was a genuine misunderstanding where Portugal thought that I was giving them Flores. Because everyone in their void, all their specs were saying, oh, Netherlands are going to try and bully Flores off you. And I'm like, what? No, we've agreed it's mine. Like, this is not me being a bully. But everyone's suddenly in their void saying that I'm a bully. And Rabbit Jam, yeah, it was a lot of chat about this, and they decided eventually, okay, reluctantly, I will let you take Flores if you wave in Makassar. And I'm like, okay, well, that kind of clarifies that that's where my wave needs to go, because now this is really worrying. But part of me is also worried because they're like, okay, reluctantly, I'll let you do this. And I'm thinking, are they just going to stab me? Are they just going to go, oh, fuck this guy, he's breaking the deal, I'm going to attack him? So I don't know whether to wave in Makassar anymore, because Portugal might stab me and Indonesia will start looking pretty bad. So
Yeah, but also a misunderstanding is plausible, especially if you talked about it somewhat vaguely, as in like, oh, we can trade florists later.
yeah, there was enough.
Even if it's relatively clear, it's easy enough to assume, oh yeah, I'm the one that's getting florists.
Yes. So I do think it was a genuine misunderstanding. But I decided to wave in Makassar because of this. And we'll go to the build screen. And we'll see. I decided to put a fleet down in New Amsterdam because this fleet in Gulf of Maine could come into Delaware Bay and cause chaos. So, and I'm basically saying, no, I'm not going to be pushing in for Boston or whatever. I'm just going to be the defender. And if I do go for Boston, I can do that from Delaware Bay as well. Although more likely, I'm just going to bounce with Gulf of Maine forever, which will be fine, and Philadelphia can go down to Jamestown or something. Let's have a look at your builds quickly. There's nothing really out of the ordinary, is there? It's
No, not really.
build.
Yeah,
and we see the fleet in Saltillo.
Yes, which I was very glad to see,
Yep.
because I really wanted a strong ally in Spain if I'm fighting all my wars in the north.
Absolutely.
So
anything from
and also I was pretty confident about the alliance being strong because they do have a lot of room to expand now that England is sort of on the ropes.
Yes.
So they might not be immediately looking to pick a fight with me.
Yeah. And of course, I'm happy to see Spain go against England as well, because I'm thinking, okay, England's not going to be able to just like come for me with everything because Spain's going to be coming for their dots. And I'm kind of happy to see this. So yeah, I'm encouraging of all this, although I'm a little bit worried to see you and Spain working together so well, but it isn't early enough for me to worry about that yet. I'm not sure there's too much more. That's too much of worry. Cayenne fleet build was mostly because we wanted to start controlling this area, start threatening Antigua, possibly Barbados, because Poland also, is warring with France. And so, this fleet's all about Poland.
Yes, they're an easy target as well, yeah.
Exactly. So, as part of mine and Portugal's negotiations, we also agreed that they would chuck their wave in Salvador, because they don't need it. They're getting an... Guarani really wanted Portugal's wave to be in Sao Paulo, but I convinced Portugal, no, it needs to be in Salvador. And Guarani also asked for Portugal, and I've read back the messages now, because I did hear about this from Rabbit Jam. They said, you need to build 2 fleets. And they were also saying, you need to come and help me against Aymara. And Portugal's saying, what, so you want me not to build armies in South America, but you also want me to help you wage a land war in South America? Like, this doesn't make any sense. So Portugal eventually builds this army in Sao Paulo, and there's a little bit of tension between Guarani and Portugal. And if you know, you know.
Yeah. At least if the builds were the other way around, it would be a bit less anti-Guarani, but also it would be much harder to defend.
Yes. Correct.
Yeah.
So I think this is reasonable in a way, but I was very happy to see this wave in Salvador, because I thought, well, they're not going to just march on Moritstad, which is really good. I'm able to get out another fleet for the South Atlantic Ocean Factory, which is really nice. In here, we see a fleet in Oxford, which is annoying, but was always kind of going to happen. So Sweden builds Army Gothenburg, and I kind of wanted them to build a fleet and get out to England, but I was very happy to see 3 fleets in the Baltic, because it means they're going hard against Poland. There's nothing else they're doing. They are attacking Poland, and we're going to be good. So they're going to be able to get into Lubeck. I'm going to be able to get Kiel. We're going to be good. I almost went 2 fleets here, because I thought, well, a fleet can kind of control the Kiel area just as well as an army can. If anything, it can get there quicker. But also it can really start the attack on England in full flight, because I can get out into Wadden Sea and then support myself into the Bight kind of thing. But I decided...
I feel like that relies a lot on trusting France.
And Austria.
Yeah, and Austria as well.
Yeah, and Austria I haven't actually...
At least Austria is otherwise occupied.
Austria is otherwise occupied, but they also see armies from France here, and me and France working together. So it may be that Austria and, people can pivot in this game. So...
Yeah,
we do have this army in war. And yeah, France, Poland builds full in Poland. I can't remember if they waved. Yeah, they did wave in New Cool.
Yeah, it was the South
Yeah, they
American
waved in
colony.
New Cool. So they build full in Europe to punish Austria here. So this is looking really good here.
Wait, did they have to wave? How many did they?
I think just the one, because that's there
But
on the
then
three
they.
areas. Oh, but they can't
But
build in
shouldn't they be
Warsaw
having?
because it's been taken. Yeah.
Yeah, but then why are they waving?
Because they also lost.
Oh, Courland, they didn't get into
Yeah,
Riga.
they
Right.
didn't get into Riga. Yeah, that's the one. So yeah, Poland's not had a great start. They're at 12 and they started on 7, so they only went +5. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So here's another look at the scoreboard here. We can see it's all colonials at the top, as it always is, but England only went +9, which is really bad when you start on 14. So England definitely the odd one out early from the colonials. I tell Congo I need to build a fleet for defense because I can't remember if I'd agreed already that they were getting Sao Tome, but I think we said we can figure out Sao Tome, but I definitely need a fleet for defense, and if not, it can go to Gold Coast and help against England. So because Congo know I'm attacking England at this stage, so they don't have to fear me as much. So it's kind of nice that their fleet is in Mabanza and that they've got armies that are very much pointed south or east. So I'm very happy to see this from Congo. And I think it's the start of a beautiful relationship. Army in Delagoa is a little bit interesting because it can go to Cape Coe. So, yeah, no fleets Caspian because Russia and Safavids are working together against the Ottomans. So we've got the army in Astrakhan that's ready to go to Kabardia. And we got a fleet in Kharkov. And fleet in Kharkov is really good to see when you're fighting.
Safavids, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, Russia's not looking too bad, but Safavids are having a very nice start. Pretty standard stuff from them all across the way. We see an army in Kochi and an army in Goa. So Portugal, I think, are getting ready to attack England, but they could just as well get ready to attack me. We don't know what's going to happen.
But even if they are, at worst, you're losing a dot there.
Exactly. And
the other colonies are a bigger problem.
Indian Ocean factory, but it's not the most important spot in the world. I don't love seeing these fleets from IU, but IU is naval enough, so at least it's not 3 fleets, which wouldn't be very good. But yeah, they're going to move to Natuna Sea here because they're talking about coming around and kicking Portugal out or possibly attacking Spain or something. But I know they're going to come to Natuna particularly because I'm in 2 dots in Borneo, so it does matter.
Yeah, I think 2 fleets for Aitai is about as much as you can ask for.
Yes. Very much. So, yeah, but even then, I'm a little nervy, but not as nervy as I was seeing 2 fleets from Ming, which I guess makes sense when Ming are attacking Tokugawa early. But
they need it, but it's also you're sort of in the way.
Yes, and one of the reasons I supported Ming against Tokugawa was that I didn't like there being 2 units next to Ryukyu, and I asked Ming, hey, can you please not move to East China Sea? And they were like, well, where else am I going to go? And I'm like, oh, you can go into Beijing Sea and Yellow Sea. And they're like, oh, but that'll make Qing unhappy. And yeah, that makes sense. So East China Sea is kind of what they have to do if they're not going to go for Hokkien and go down to Macau. And I'm getting the impression from Ming that Ming are never going to go for Portugal.
Yeah, this kind of neuters your colony there because you can't really make any very aggressive moves in any direction.
Yeah.
Because there are just too many units around your 2 dots.
Yeah. And I'm pretty worried about Ming Qing just kind of rolling and that I've enabled them to kill Tokugawa and then I'm going to be next. I'm a little worried about that.
And you are kind of the odd one out there because if Ming can just kill you, then they don't care about their relationship with you.
Yeah, and it's kick out the colonials, and they're also not doing anything to Portugal.
Yeah. And also I feel like a lot of people sort of don't like the presence of these 1-dot colonies around them, and it's
totally.
So it would be much cleaner if that just wasn't there.
Yeah. So last game in Orchid, when I was Safavids in year 1 builds, I built double fleet here just to kick Portugal out of Rustak.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, because you do not want Portugal's colony here to survive. So it's totally understandable to want to do this, but So Liz did these video voids. Have you seen any of those videos yet that she posted?
No, I was gonna.
I feel very vindicated that she was saying, yeah, and I'm really happy here because maybe I can turn Tokugawa around on the Dutch that I've done this with. And I'm like, yeah, so I've read Liz like a book here. Liz is going here and is going to try and attack me. So that was her plan when she was doing this. Everything else looks decently normal. I have waved in Makassar. And a very important thing to talk about after builds, not before builds, but after builds, is that Portugal subs out.
Oh, was it that early?
It was this early. Rabbit Jam subbed out of the game right after builds.
Oh.
Rabbit Jam I think was getting very invested in the game and decided to take a step away, it's a good move because you need to look after yourself first and foremost and all that. And there were some intense discussions between a lot of people, and I think Rabbit Jam thought, I can't be getting this invested in the game. I need to kind of steer away from it. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
but it's also right after you did your half of the deal.
It is right after Makassar. I did my half of the deal of not building in Makassar is correct. And there'd already been in the void clear evidence to the new incoming Portugal that there was some debate about Flores. So I couldn't just come in and say, well, we've agreed this. Yeah. So Third Monkey subs in as the new Portugal, as the temporary sub, because Rabbit Jam said, I'm going to go out for a week and then come back in. And not too long afterwards said, oh, actually, I need to sub out for real. And Third Monkey didn't want to be a permanent sub, so subbed out, and Lolstats got subbed into the position of Portugal. And I've not met Lolstats before, but immediately in my void, a couple of spectators were saying, oh, fuck, you've got Lolstats as Portugal. And
why?
Known for kind of very bullying press and doing what people lovingly call a terrorism on people's positions. So I was a little worried about this with Lolstats coming in, but I thought, it's a new Portugal. Let's discuss and we'll talk about all these deals and it'll all be fine. So we can go to the clean map after builds before moves. And one of the things I'm, of course, talking to Portugal about is like, hey, Mapuche's done this, and Mapuche have been talking to me about cleaning you out of Indonesia, and I'm not doing that. As you can see from the void, from our chat, you and I are working together hand in hand, and we're going to control this game. So you need to go and make sure you secure Gulamergen and stop Wuruk moving up to Gulu and all of that, because it'll move there, but Portugal can kick them out. So I'm very much pressing for Lolstats to go here. And Lolstats says, yeah, I think I've worked it out in press with Mapuche where, yeah, I'll be able to take Gulamergen, but I may need to have Flores as the backup. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Where are you going to trade me if that happens? Because I'm like, oh yeah, we'd agreed that maybe you could get Flores if you trade me a dot elsewhere. And they're like, oh, well, I mean, we'll figure it out. Maybe Maldives, but it might not make a lot of sense early for that to be, because I'd kind of been pointing to Maldives as a spot where I could take a dot for free and have a little bit more presence around the Indian Ocean without threatening India. So Lolstats was saying, yeah, no, that'll be fine. You can come down to Flores and pick it up while I go to Gulamergen. So that'll be fine. We don't need to do any trades. And then Lolstats comes back to me and says, I've just had a chat with Mapuche again. It looks like I'm going to need Flores. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, this is not what I want to hear at all. And I'm like, okay, so am I getting Maldives then? And they're like, oh, well, I don't know if I can give you Maldives this year. And I'm like, okay, then don't take Flores, please. And they said, I think I need to take Flores. Oh my God. Reading the voids about this discussion after the game, all my specs are going, yeah, Lolstats, of course he was going to do this. You needed to. And I mean, you can't blame Lolstats. Like, he's subbed into the position. It's not.
Yeah, he's not exactly bound to any of the deals.
Exactly.
And he is in a bit of a position to bully you.
Yeah, and he's right next to Flores, and I'm not. But it's at this point that I'm regretting the whole Cotabato, the whole Bonin Islands, the whole I've stabbed Tokugawa. Spain didn't get a dot because of all this shit, and they wanted to back out and take Cotabato, but then I was the bad guy, and If you know, you know about
Yeah.
Spain. So, I'm not very happy that this is all going to happen. And I basically say, okay, you can take Flores, but I'm going to get my trade when I do this, and maybe it can be Maldives. I don't know. Maybe that'll be able to happen. And Lolstat's is like, okay, but not Maldives this year. And I kind of have no choice but to accept this, but let it happen. But I'm looking at a way to get back at Portugal pretty quickly. Let's talk about your position after builds. What are you looking at doing?
Ooh, I don't exactly remember before seeing the moves. I don't think.
Okay, we can talk about your moves when we see moves then.
Yeah, we can go back to it.
Yep, too easy. I think we've already discussed this area. I'm going to come out to Delaware Bay. I'm going to go down to Maryland and threaten Jamestown because Spain's going to be coming for Cherokee, so England kind of are overextended defending both of them. So I'm thinking there's a chance I might be able to get Jamestown if I come down. And also I can get rid of that red color from my screen. And get rid of that. This beautiful, beautiful Caribbean position here with my early Leeward Sea Gambit. And I've got 3 on Guadalupe. And I'm thinking, okay, beautiful. I'm going to be able to support St. Martin or Puerto Rico into Guadalupe. I can't remember which one I did, but I decide, okay, that'll be fine. I'll be able to support that all in. We'll be looking good. We hadn't agreed yet to anything here, but at some stage, France and I in year 2 agreed to swap the colonies. And I know you were very aware of this because there was a lot of discussion about when it would happen later on.
Later on, it started to concern me a lot. Yeah.
Yes, because I agree to give France Philadelphia and New Amsterdam and let them have a big North America if they give me Cayenne and Kalina and have a big South America. And particularly, I'm thinking Poland is crumbling, England is crumbling. I could connect the Caribbean and South America and be absolutely monstrous in the area. So I'm very happy about this. France is building a fleet, so they're getting ready to evacuate. I've built a fleet. I'm ready to evacuate. Like, it's looking good for that swap to happen. So I'm quite ready to see that go ahead. I don't want to talk too much about this area until we see the board, because there's some important stuff to talk about there. But basically, there's a lot of chatter, I think, in all directions about like who's going to stab who. Like, Aymara is very unhappy with Mapuche, so they don't really want to make an enemy of Spain, because they kind of earlier had been saying, well, maybe I can support you to Japura, and I think I might have even said, well, maybe I can support you to Japura, and they were like, that's interesting. Would you be interested in going against Portugal? And before Lolstat subbed in, I said no, and after Lolstat subbed in, I said yes. Because Lolstat started rubbing me the wrong way immediately with the Flores issue. And as you may have seen in Popcorn Throwers and in everything recently that we've discussed, I started talking to all of South America about Lolstats. I'm talking to Aymara, I'm talking to Mapuche, because particularly Mapuche is the one that I really want to go against Lolstats in Australia, so that can happen. But I'm also talking to Guarani, with whom I get on decently well. I get on decently well with Aymara. And I'm kind of trying to direct people against Portugal, because I have no beef with Spain at this stage. I have no reason to really want to attack them. So I think, well, if I can direct people down against Portugal, that could look really good for me. And there could be some dots in here for me. So I don't think I'm talking to anyone about getting into Japura because of the Portugal issue. Here, yeah, the plan is I'm going to support Kiel to Lübeck, because we've got 3 there and we can guarantee it. I think the idea is that Austria is going to come up to Saxony. There was a 3-way chat by this point where it was me, Sweden, and Austria talking about killing Poland. I know Dyer's reaction was, oh, what the fuck is Vlad doing here? I thought we were the ones killing Poland and getting the dots. And I'm like, no, sorry, I'm getting some dots too. Hi, Dyer. How you doing? And Dyer's like, fucking hell. But so Dyer agrees to come up to Saxony and help in the fall. I think the idea is we're going to try and get Lübeck and Berlin and Krakow this year, because Warsaw's going to get retaken. But there's a lot going on. So the plan for the spring, I'm going to get Sweden from Kiel into Lübeck, and then I'm going to walk in and take Kiel, and that'll look good. I'm also looking at getting out into the southern bight and making sure I can start pressing on England. That's Europe for me, I think. Yeah, down here, I believe by this stage I'd agreed that Congo could get Sao Tome, or I at least was heavily implying it, because I was saying, well, yeah, my fleet's going to defend myself, but it's going to take Benin, because my army in Great Hydra is going to be needed against England. Because I want to start moving against England. Ottomans and I had kind of agreed by this stage that Agadez would be theirs.
And also, I feel like they have to at least try going for it or abandon the colony.
Exactly, yes. They need to do something. They can't really just chill on the one and trust that I'm a friend, because there's a lot going on there. I don't think they got on with Poland either, so there's not too much going on there. So I kind of agree, like, yep, you can get Agadez, but can you please support me into Busa, because I want to really start my attack against England in earnest. And I think Ottomans were a bit worried about that and didn't agree to it immediately. I think they agreed to it, but we'll see in moves whether I move to Busa or not. I'm obviously not in Cape Coe, and I've kind of left it up to France, but one of the things that happens after Lolstat subs into the game is that Lolstat said, well, no, I need Cape Coe. And so it's not just me that's not very happy with Lolstats subbing into the game. Oh yeah, not only my specs knew who Lolstats was, Arctic, who played France, very much knew who Lolstats was, and was not very happy to see Lolstats sub into the position. So immediately tensions breaking out between Portugal and France over Cape Coe as well. So not looking...
Probably a good thing you didn't go for the reunion thing then.
Yeah, totally. And and at
if the trio immediately collapsed.
Yeah, I'm still promised reunion this year at this stage, because the idea was, well, I'll take it in year 2, and I wasn't saying anything to France about that. I was kind of just gonna take it and be like, no, we agreed to it, and that they wouldn't really have any recourse to say what the fuck. So I was going to see if I could get away with not pressing about it, but we'll see what happens. That's Africa for me. Indonesia here. I am letting Portugal take Flores, and we'll see the moves on the board when that happens. But I'm also a little bit wary that Portugal might try and stab me, because I know they're not going to take Gulumurgan, so Mapuche is going to get Gulumurgan. So looking to be defensive against Portugal, and I'd been hearing a little bit of Spain being anti-me. Mostly from Rabbit Jam, actually. And Rabbit Jam was saying, oh my god, Spain wants to attack you. And I'm thinking, you're saying a lot of things right now. We're kind of fighting about Flores. We're fighting about Reunion. I feel like maybe you're just trying to drive everyone apart and make them all fight. So I don't put too much stock in Spain disliking me at this stage. So I'm not sure Spain's going to do much against me.
You said Rabbit Jam is saying this.
Yes, wait, Rabbit Jam was saying this before he subbed out, yes.
Oh, before he subbed out. Okay.
Yeah. One thing that Ayutthaya and I agree is we should attack England. And I'm trying to rope in Ayutthaya. I'm trying to rope in Mughals. I'm trying to get everyone to just kill England so that I can get some dots out of there. And we want to get them all down. So Ayutthaya agrees to support me to the Bay of Bengal so that I can get my fleet from Aceh onto Madras, and that I can really start pressuring, see if I can work with Portugal, take Madras, Madurai, all that kind of thing, because we've got some armies that can get in position. So Ayutthaya agrees to support me in. And I say, well, yeah, I'm going to backfill. That's fine. So I'll be in Aceh. No, I don't know if I did backfill, because I think they were a little worried about me having 2 on Andaman. But because Malacca Strait and Riau Sea were DMZ'd at this point. So I think, yes, they were going to have 1 in Andaman, but they were looking at the opportunity of taking Pegu. So I was expecting Tavoy to go to Andaman Sea. No spoilers. But yes, Aceh is planning to go to Bay of Bengal, and Ayutthaya is going to move across, and we're all going to attack England, and we're all going to be friends, and we're all going to get on. I think it's time to go to moves. Okay. How's this looking for Ute?
Pretty good. So I arrange a bound fleet.
Fleet show. Oh my god.
I think me and Inuit have decided on a split where we get we basically split the Athapasca dots in half. He gets Chipevian, Tuchone, and Sahtu, I think, and then I get the remaining three. The
Tlicho, Chilcotin, and
exactly.
Ojikri.
Exactly. And so the idea was we help each other into those dots, and then we almost immediately get a very stable border in between us, and then we can peace out and focus on fighting France, probably, or at least.
Yeah, because Athapasca seem to be doing friendly French things, and I don't think Inuits and France liked each other at this stage.
Yeah, I don't think it was as much friendly French as unfriendly Ute things, but
Yes.
yeah, after I attacked them last phase, I came to them with basically the idea of, look, I didn't know if your offer was for real, so I decided to go for what I thought you wouldn't bounce, which was like kind of true, but mostly I wasn't very likely to go for the truce anyways.
Yes, exactly. And yeah.
And after this, I think from the press as well, they turned completely anti-Ute. They are leaving stuff to the Inuits and just going after me.
Yeah, which is kind of
because of how. Yeah, I can't be mad about that. I don't think I even offered them anything else this phase. I just said, look, I think at this point we're just fighting. I can't really offer you anything.
Yeah. So they move to the Great Plains here, and they're threatening Arapaho.
I couldn't have really prevented that.
Oh, of course. There's three spots. Yeah.
Yeah, my main thing was keeping Spain in check with their build, and the bounce was fine enough.
Yeah.
I needed to get into GPL because I just need to be there in general, and also potentially to bounce Ata out. And then I'm moving so that I can potentially cover both my dots next to GPL and take Lakota, depending on what happens here.
So Gosute can move to Arapaho, Crow to Lakota.
And Assiniboine.
Because Assiniboine is also open, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I knew it would be open because Ojibwe is obviously going to GPL. The move to Winnipeg was on the off chance that it goes to Winnipeg. I don't want them having two on Sutina.
It's a lot better if they're in Ojikri already because they can bounce you out of Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Or threaten Tsutsina.
Yeah. So this is pretty much the moves I was expecting from them, except I didn't know with GPL, obviously. Yep.
And we get Spain attacking England.
Spain is going after England. France is mopping up. To be over pretty soon.
Down towards Belize.
Yes, and that I really liked because I never mentioned it to them. They just did it. It was sort of left unsaid, and they just did it on trust. So I really like seeing that. Especially, they can guarantee it from Honduras, right? So that all seemed pretty good to me.
Yep.
And France and England are still fighting, so I don't have to fear anyone coming after me.
Yep, indeed they are. France moves in here, putting pressure on Cherokee as well. I move down to Maryland, putting pressure on Jamestown as they walk out of Jamestown and out of Catawba as the fleet moves to Gulf Stream, and Spain just walk in. So I wasn't very happy to see this because Spain suddenly has 3 on Cherokee, and France and I were planning for France to get Cherokee. And we were a little worried about Spain having 3 on Cherokee. And I haven't shown you anything else on the board yet, but you will see why we're worried about Spain having 3 on Cherokee. So yeah, France is continuing to cook, getting a lot of stuff here. Gets into Gulf of Maine with this. I get out into Delaware Bay, so Gulf of Maine can't retreat to Delaware Bay either. So it's just looking really good for our young hero at this stage because nothing is next to New Amsterdam. France could dot Philadelphia, but why would they? I've got a lot of options here. I've even got options of convoying my army into Boston if we want to go that way, all that kind of thing. And we'll come down here, and you might see this mysterious red arrow here coming from someone. And I'm not going to reveal who that is at this stage, but what is
I don't actually know.
Oh, okay. What is really funny is that it didn't matter because England did
they weren't
defend
defending
themselves. And one of the spoilers as to who this is I will tell you that England knew that this tap was happening.
Wait, really? So why didn't they?
Your guess is as good as mine. And I also knew this tap might happen because Spain told me it might happen. And I, to this day, do not know why Spain told me this. But I knew this was coming, and I went to the nefarious person who tapped leeward C, and in press before moves, and I'm saying, oh, because you would never stab me right, yada yada. Like, I mean, in what world would you ever tap leeward C? And that's me basically telling them, I know you might be tapping leeward C. It's been leaked. Your friends are not your friends, like, kind of thing. And Portugal predicts that it was Spain that leaked it. Sorry, I've just okay. Sorry, Portugal taps leeward C.
We still don't know. We'll edit it out.
Yeah, it's okay. Nah, it's fine. We can reveal it. Portugal is the big bad, and Portugal does a lot of bad things to me this turn.
Yeah, they were sort of the only ones left.
Yes, exactly. So Portugal tap leeward C in order to get me not to get Guadeloupe, and it doesn't work because England didn't defend themselves. It's so funny. And I've got St. Martin open for a build, and I'm still in leeward C, and Antigua's vulnerable, and England's in Mona Passage. They can't even retreat to St. Lucia to defend Antigua because they moved. So it's just looking really... They can't... Or even to threaten Barbados. I mean, who knows? Like, but they're out there because they're going after France, because France is their enemy. So they think, I'll move to Mona Passage and that will defend against some France bullshit. Nope. Fucks them up. We can come down here. Fleets deploy as normal. Spain comes out into Caracas, Caribbean Sea, which is a little threatening for France or Poland. We don't know who at this stage, but have a look at this. We see Spain support Ipurina into Amazonia. And in all my moves, I was thinking, okay, I've got to get into Carib because that's a really nice defensive position. I can also maybe have a look at Chapura. I thought I could move Belém there and I could move Pamerbo to Orinoco, but Belém might need to support Amazonia because what if they attack me? Because Rabbit Jam had been telling me that Spain was anti-me. And I didn't know what was going to happen. And thank fuck I defended Amazonia because, yeah, Aymara really wanted a friend because Mapuche is stabbing. Oh my god, poor Aymara. And so they went to Spain for their friend. So Aymara attacks me and fails. I get into Goya, so good for me, even though people tried to attack me, is all I'll say here. I get into SAO again. Portugal doesn't move against me. They move into Kangag, but Guarani stab Aymara.
This is just a very fun moveset to look at.
Yeah,
it looks like
all straight moves, no supports, just straight fire, and they get into Wienerhayek.
It looks like someone was drawing like a magnetic field, and it's all going in one direction.
Yeah. So Aymara is completely doomed at this stage. They get into Huape, which is pretty funny. But I mean, Mapuche has 3 units around it. They're not going to be able to hold it. So R.I.P. Aymara. And Aymara immediately come to me and they're like, I'm so fucking sorry. Like, I should never have attacked you. Please, can we peace out? And I'm like, okay, yeah, but you need to help me against Spain. And they're like, no, Spain's my only friend. And I'm like, no, I'm your only friend. So, yeah, Aymara was freaking out after this move. And I am so glad I predicted this right, because losing Amazonia really sucks here because it goes back to J. But I can probably retake it, but as you'll see...
Yeah, you have 4 on it. So,
I'm not happy with Portugal, yeah. So it's a bit worrying. I'm very glad I support held Amazonia and didn't move to Orinoco. Even though a move to Orinoco would have been really nice to counter Spain.
Yeah, it's annoying for them to deal with, but it also lets them slip into Carib later.
Yes. And well, it would have been Pamerbo to Orinoco, Belém to Carib would have been the moveset.
Ah, right.
Yeah. But I decided to do it this way because I wanted Belém holding. Yeah. Poland moves to Gulf of Paria, which is a bit annoying because Pamerbo's open. So Poland clearly decided, well, I'm going to punish the Dutch for doing this shit.
Wait, what did you do to Poland?
I was doing this stuff with Sweden. Oh, I hadn't done it yet, but yeah.
But that you haven't done it yet, yeah. I feel like you were one of the people Poland wasn't angry at.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe they'd asked me to support them against France, and I did, and I said no, which maybe was a bit of a blunder.
Could be.
But Poland's press was not trustworthy, so I didn't want to tell them yes and then have them potentially leak to everyone that I said yes to them. I had no kind of relation with Poland on which to try and string them along. But also after this, Poland came to me and they said, oh, I'm not happy with Spain. They did not agree this. I'm going to cover myself. So I was less worried about Pamerbo. But Poland's obviously also worried about me. because of this. So it's a bit of a nasty situation. Yeah, so that's about it for South America. We may as well go to Europe now and see all the fun shenanigans. And I get into the Southern Bight, and England tries to dislodge the channel. France predicts it and gets out, but Portugal gets into Iberian Current resultingly. So it's not all the best for these fleets here in the English Channel. But I get into Southern Bight. I also get into Wadden Sea, which is great. And I get down into Ghent, which France was a little worried about, but I'm like, no, I'm going there because I need to convoy to England. And I decided I wasn't going to backfill over here, that I would be fine just walking Bremen to Kiel and take that. So we get Sweden into Poland. Sweden does not stab me. They move down to Christiania, all fine and dandy. Russia's coming for Iceland. I'd kind of told Russia Iceland might be free at this point because I wanted as much anti-England as possible. So I was very happy to see Russia go that way. So it wasn't Saxony, it was Silesia that Austria got into to try and pressure Krakow and Berlin. But still good. And France moves against Austria, is important to note here. So, oh my God, that's right. France said to me like 10 minutes before the move phase, they said, oh, by the way, I'm going through Cologne, is that fine? Like, what? Like, no? Of course not. It's adjacent to Ghent and Utrecht. Like, fucking hell. That's crippling for my position if you go there. Like, I won't be able to move on England with you and all of this. So they say, oh, it's okay. I'm just worried about being bounced out of Hesse. But they went with this moveset, and it worked really quite well, getting into Hesse to pressure all this stuff. And they try to get to Bern, but they move to Savoy. They're going to be able to move in. They've got a nice front against Austria here. And Austria immediately are asking me for help. And they're like, hey, I'm going to help you here in Poland. You need to help me against France. And I'm like, France and I are killing England. I can promise I won't move against you, I guess. Like, so it was a bit of a worry. But
Austria doesn't really have a lot of good allies around them because you're too tied to France and exactly. Poland is a death war.
Yes.
And the Ottomans aren't moving very nicely either.
Okay. Although, as we will see right here, Spain stab Ottomans.
Oh, yeah. Ottomans have other issues, yeah.
Yes, so Ottomans are very worried. They're trying to move down to Hogar to defend Agadez. Ottomans do support me to Busa, which I'm very happy to see because it lets me put some real pressure on Ouagadougou. England NMR'd these two armies. I don't know what that was about, but I get into Notse, which never should have happened.
They might have just been sort of giving up on the game in general.
Yeah, I think they were checking out a little bit, and they kind of
especially combined with the Caribbean move that they could where they could have defended against you, but they didn't.
Yeah, exactly. It's not optimal moves, and we can point at a few different English moves and say they're not optimal. I think one of the funny ones might be this phase actually over in India, but we'll get to that. Yes, and that should be to say that some people are probably wondering why Ute and Netherlands are the two nations doing this after-action report. You will find out in due time.
Yeah, an interesting game.
Yeah, we've got a lot to talk about. I think we're going to get to the end of year 2 by the first video, and because we've been going 2 hours in this one. Oh my god. Yes, so Spain is stabbing Ottomans, and Ottomans are not happy because Ottomans is fighting Russia and Safavids already, so it's not having a good time. And Portugal is supporting the Safavids against Ottomans as well. It's just not a good time for the Ottoman Empire.
Yeah, the Ottomans didn't. Yeah, I remember them having a lot of problems at this point.
Yes, and what it means for me is that they love me because I'm letting them get Agadez, and I'm all fine with that. But of course, Spain are in here, so maybe Ottomans won't be able to take Agadez. So I'm thinking, hey, I'm Ottoman's best friend. Maybe I can get Agadez because it's not guaranteed that I get Ouagadougou because I'm not in Gold Coast yet. So maybe I can get Agadez. Yeah, shit's still happening. Everyone's moving against each other. Canary's move is a bit spicy because it's kind of towards Portugal, but it doesn't matter too much. Core down in Niani very early is a little bit scary because it gives Portugal somewhere else to build on the mainland. We'll see if that
and sort of they're in no one else's crosshairs as well, at least over there. So
yes, And we'll see if that dot is useful for them later in the game as a build spot or not. But we'll see if that core gets completed first. Let's leave it at that. Anyway, I'm very happy to see this. I had heard that Ajuran and Abyssinia were going to attack Congo at this point. And I believe Abyssinia was the one in the power position that was choosing which of the two to work with. And what I had heard was that they were going in on Congo. So I chucked Congo support that meant nothing because they can't get attacked and taken. So I'm doing this basically
because you knew they were moving, or it ended up doing nothing.
I chucked it to them as like a nominal, hey, I'm your friend. Like I knew they were going to have enemies, and that was me going, well, you know who to talk to be your friend. Abyssinia messaged me and said, what are you doing? And I said, oh, I just did it as a token gesture because I knew that they couldn't get dislodged anyway. It doesn't mean anything. I'm just leading them along. So yeah. It was a bit of a useless one, but I thought that was pretty fun. But yes, as we can see, stuff's happening here. Ajuran's doing a bunch of bounces, but is kind of moving this way. But particularly Abyssinia is moving on Congo. And Congo start moving on Portugal. Moving to Cape Basin, moving to Batamba, moving to Lundaluba. And I'm very happy to see this because Portugal...
It's giving Portugal trouble somewhere else, yeah.
Exactly. So at this point, I'm like, Congo, you are my best friend. You're being attacked. It's us against the world because I'm attacking England. Portugal's stabbing me. And I say to them, like, okay, you get Sao Tome, I'll take Benin, and we'll be the best friends. And I'm like, this is one way to lock in like a really, really solid regional alliance. Is just support them against Portugal, be very happy with them. As we can see, France gets Cape Toe, and France lets them while moving out. So I believe France did this reluctantly. We can talk a little bit more about why that happens before we talk about fall. Okay, Safavids retreat out of the Mughals area, which is interesting, and they try and stab Russia, but they also... Yeah, I don't know. We can let Travis talk about that. Yes, this is the funny England order I was talking about. Have a look at this one. Masuli to Hyderabad.
Oh no!
They do not border. They try.
Yeah, okay. It took me a while.
Yeah, exactly, because they do not border, and so Masulipatam doesn't even defend Rajamahendri, and Rajamahendri gets taken by Mughals. And 3 people bounce in Hyderabad. Like, oh my god, England. So, yeah, at this point, I don't think...
2 people bounce in Hyderabad.
Super caring. Yes, everyone bounces in Hyderabad. So Portugal did a bunch of bounces. We bounced in Vanad as like a defensive kind of stop England going there. I believe that was agreed between us. But Portugal moved to Gulf of Mannar, which is not good, because that's next to Ceylon. And I kind of thought they might do this, so I thought they're going to try and put 2 on Ceylon, they might attack me. So this is part of Portugal stabbing me. And England moves out to Cholamandalam coast as well to try and attack me. So...
And I can see on the right that they are not the only ones.
They are not... Well, yes. So Ajuran... Ayutthaya... Oh my god, I did it again.
Yes.
Ayutthaya support me to Bay of Bengal, like I was asked. So I'm really happy because I'm in Bay of Bengal. Oh... What? This was DMZ'd. Are you? What are you doing? Why are you in Malacca Strait? This is very, very naughty by Ayutthaya to move to Malacca Strait.
Who did they say they were going after with the...
They said they were going to Andaman
Eastern
Sea.
unit?
Yeah, and the Eastern units... Well, they said they were either going to move around to Tonkin or move against Spain. And I kind of was very happy to encourage them to go for Tonkin. And these moves kind of made me think, oh, they are going after Portugal.
Yeah, it is plausible.
Yeah, I wasn't too sad to see this at this stage. No spoilers. But yes, I was unhappy with Ayutthaya, but I had bigger fish to fry. Because number one, Portugal's stabbing me in a couple of places. And Cebu moves to Sulusi. And I bounced Spain and Celebes, which they tried to get me not to bounce there as well. And I said, no, I'm bouncing you in Celebes. I can't leave that open. It's way, way, way too important for me. And for some reason, I decided to core in Cotabato instead of move to Sulusi. Like, I had heard from Rabbit Jam that Spain was kind of anti-me, and I was worried about it. I don't know why I didn't move to Sulusi. But I don't.
I guess it would have been seen as aggressive if they weren't stabbing.
I know, and Ayutthaya is moving to Natuna Sea, so I'm not too happy about it. But yeah, so I guess we can see that. So fortunately, I get into the Indian Ocean, and I was going here because, of course, I was going to take Reunion, and Portugal stabbed me.
Was arranged.
There's as was arranged, but totally forgotten about. But England and Portugal are now 2 on Ceylon. So I go to France and I'm like, okay, the good news for you with this, with Portugal being a bastard, is that I'm not taking Reunion anymore. And France just said, yeah. They said, that trade was off the table the second Rabbit Jam subbed out. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, I'm not going to push it anymore. I'm not doing it. So we're fine. Fortunately, I'm in position to be able to defend Ceylon. And I do still have 2 around Aceh. So it would have been really bad if England had gotten into Bay of Bengal. I mean, I know Ayutthaya did this to try and make Aceh vulnerable, but they could have maybe pitched an alliance with England and supported England into the Bay of Bengal here.
Yeah, and England needs friends.
Yeah.
Although I think at this point, England was already relatively inactive. They might not have wanted to rely too much on England.
But you can also say, hey, Dutch was one of the ones killing you. Support me into Aceh. And just spite them.
Yeah.
Because as you will know very well, some people asking England to spite people, it works very well in this game.
Yeah, they might be open to that sort of thing.
And maybe Ayutthaya didn't take advantage of that, but someone else might have. We will never know who that was. But so it's not looking good here because we've got 2 on Kota Batu. They can just take it if they want.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know for sure if Ayutthaya is stabbing me, but I'm certainly miffed by the DMZ break. And as I say, Kevin...
With a DMZ break, you're not sure if they're stabbing? I feel like this is a pretty...
Yeah, and this is the diplomacy. Like, because Kevin and I get on well, and I wanted to ally Ayutthaya, and I knew Kevin from the previous game, and Kevin was like, I kind of had bigger fish to fry. Like, you know, I'm the jury's out, and I can't really do anything to defend against them anyway, except protect Aceh, which, spoilers, I do.
Especially with Spain attacking in the same turn, I feel like breaking the DMZ is pretty blatant.
I know,
because that fleet has nowhere to go. Like, it has nothing to do other than attack you that it couldn't do in Andaman Sea.
Yeah, and they were saying they were going to South China Sea and all of that.
Yeah, but not through Malacca Strait.
Yeah, the Malacca Strait move was not. They were like, I was worried you were going to move in. Is there like, which everyone says, like, yeah. But I'm like, why would you be worried about that and also support me to Bay of Bengal? Like, come on. Yeah, it was a little annoying. I possibly didn't pay as much attention to this as I should have, but I certainly was not happy with Ayutthaya about that. We get a bouncing Coral Sea, which is fine because Mapuche just wants to go to Gulamurugan and have it guaranteed because Portugal's in Flores. Yay! This is the final big decision I made this phase, which was to support Tokugawa back into Kyushu.
Tokugawa's back?
Yep. Because I was
this pops the unit, right?
This pops Kyushu, yes. So I was really worried about Mingqing being a strong alliance and running everyone over because Russia was letting Inuits into Yakutsk and Qing were looking good, Ming were looking good, and I tried to get no fleet in the East China Sea, and they did it anyway. So, which it was all agreed, but I wasn't happy with. So I think this was a reasonable play.
Yeah, I think obviously it angers Ming, who is pretty strong, but I feel like they were going for you anyway, so might as well get a jump on them.
They may well have been anyway. And I move out to Okinawa Trough to try and have some control in the area. And Manila moves to Luzon Strait and threatens Formosa, which is not good to see. And because, of course, I'm not moving to Fokien because I'm friends with Portugal, right? And so, yeah, I'm not looking good in this area at all. I'm in Okinawa Trough. I don't know whether to cover Formosa or whatever. So I'm in a little bit of a pickle over here. Let's go to the next map. This is retreats map. Are there important retreats to talk about?
Not on my end. Yeah, click, I guess, the one obvious one, I think.
England's retreat matters here. We don't know where they're going to go because they might try and leave Bermuda open to try and build their army gets blown up. Army gets blown up. Army gets blown up. Yeah, England gets to retreat one of two ways if they want to. And the fleet gets blown up in Kyushu, which is really nice. So, yeah, and we'll see. England do, in fact, retreat to St. Marguerite Bay in order to try and pressure Port Royal.
Yeah, a bit anti-France.
Yeah, and France is not happy about that at all. But I'm pretty happy to see it because I'm looking very pretty in Delaware Bay. Here's a clean map before moves. Is there much to talk about before moves for you?
I think it will be easier for me after moves.
Yep. Too easy. I'll just have a quick look through to see what matters for me here. I'm obviously going for Jamestown. I'm doing what France wants with my fleet because we're best friends. I'm in Guadalupe. Yes, it probably is easy to talk about most of this on the builds board. Yeah, so Ipurina, Imara is talking to me about like, hey, I'm ready to help you. And I'm like, okay, can you please support me into Japura? And they're like, no.
Not like that.
Spain is and they keep saying I'll support you into Nukugu, and I'm like, oh yeah, like that's maybe reasonable. And they're also saying, can you please support me into Nukugu? And I'm like, I can't leave Amazonia vulnerable. Like I need to be able to push in against Spain. I need to push in against Portugal. Yeah, and Portugal tried to kind of I do need to talk about Portugal's press after this stab. Oh my god, they went full gaslight. And they came into the chat and they were like, no, so I heard from everyone that you hated me. And I did this because of what you did in press. And they were like, you leaked to Aymara that I was going to attack Aymara. And so this is the one bit that, yes, I was stirring up a bit of discontent against Portugal because of the Flores issue. But no, I did not do that leak. And I just said to Portugal, like, you're making things up. You're making accusations. I wasn't going to do this. Can we just admit that you stabbed me? And they were like, no, this was your fault. And it's everyone's fault but mine. Because if Aymara was lying, then it's Aymara's fault. And we need to kill Aymara. And Spain was encouraging me to do it. And Ayutthaya said they wanted to attack you. And it was everyone's fault but Portugal's was the crux of the conversation. And they kind of said
that gets very frustrating on the other end.
Yes. They kind of said to me that they would walk back their stab. They were like, oh, I helped England out, but then England repaid me by being an idiot, so I'm not going to help England anymore. And I'm like, okay, I kind of believe that, but like, it's not great. So they say to me they're walking back their stab. I don't really believe them.
Is there some reason why they would be worried? Like, why would they be forced to walk back the stab?
No, well, they weren't forced to. They were like, oh no, I want to work with you in some places. And we had this misunderstanding.
That just doesn't sound too convincing then.
Yes, exactly. And I'm like, I think they're just trying to get me to let down their guard. And, oh, sure, they might want some help against Aymara and all of that and play people off each other. And Spain's also talking to me and they say, oh, well, maybe I can walk back this stab. Like, I can go for New Coolland and we can kill England and all of this stuff. And I'm like, I don't think I really believe you, because not least because Aymara is telling me like, yeah, Spain wants to kill you. Because I've got a new friend in Aymara now because I'm the one person that didn't stab them except for Spain. So it's nice to get that little bit of intel. And obviously Spain's attacking me all across the board. So I don't really believe Spain is going to back off, but they do tell me they're going to walk back the stab. So I don't know whether to believe either Spain or Portugal here. What matters here before moves, though, is that Poland do tell me they're going to cover New Coolland and not go for Pamerbo. And I take the risk in moves to leave Pamerbo open. Do you think you would have been so bold?
I have no idea what the press with Poland was like in a situation where they're fighting literally everyone else.
Yeah. But not only are they fighting everyone else, they're also flaming everyone. They're like, oh, why did you support Sweden against me? You get nothing out of it. And I'm like, well, I get killed. And they're like, oh, you get one dot. And I'm like, yeah, I do.
Yeah, in a situation like that, if they don't seem too angry at me, I might assume that, oh, well, they don't want to pick a fight with one more person.
And they were angry.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I decided to believe them, and they were maybe even talking about like, oh, France is my biggest enemy because of all this shit. So maybe I'm going to tap Guyana Current and stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of annoying. But eventually they tell me they're covering New Cooland, and I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to believe you, and I leave it open. So I'm not committing anyway because I've got too many people to worry about down here, so I'm just playing generally defensively. Oh, one thing I should say, because as part of Spain's peace talks in inverted commas, they tell me that they're going to support Hold Japura. So I think, okay, well, in that case, if they really are piecing me and we go for peace, then I can get away with attacking Japura because they've told me they support holding it.
Oh,
So, because if I attack them and they support hold it and we are piecing, I just say, well, yeah, it didn't matter. You were holding it, so nothing was ever going to happen. And if they aren't support holding Japura, it's because they're trying to get into Orinoco or attack Carib or, push on Palmervo. So they're doing nefarious things if they are lying to me. So I think I'll attack them because if they're lying to me, I'll get their dot.
that sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Which I like as well. Nothing's happening about Ipurina at this stage. I think I promise Imara support hold, and they promise to support hold me, and we're all friends now. Let's go to Europe. Is there much to talk about here? Oh, yeah. So in the coalition chat on Poland with Sweden and Austria, Sweden's meant to be giving me Kiel right now because I'm supporting them forwards, as I said. But Sweden decides, actually, we need to make sure that Poland dies really quickly. So instead of taking Kiel, how about you take Berlin? Because you can't do anything from Bremen if you're walking to Kiel. So how about we support the Netherlands into Berlin and get Austria to help with that? And Austria's not too happy about that because Austria wants Berlin or Krakow or whatever.
Yeah.
But Austria
really doesn't want Netherlands all the way there.
Austria agrees to tap Krakow as part of getting me into Berlin. So instead of going to Kiel, I'm now going to Berlin. And this is really good for Sweden because it means they get to keep their free dot for an extra turn, even though in press I'm promised Kiel and Lübeck while they get Berlin and Gdansk. That was the split between us. So I get to Berlin, but then I have to kind of walk back and take them again. So there's room for Sweden to exploit it, but I think this is the best play because it'll mean that I still have an ally in Sweden after Poland dies. Because, let's face it, Poland's dying.
Yeah.
That's going to happen for sure. Austria and France are fighting. Spain and Ottomans are fighting. Down here's a really interesting one because Portugal and Ottomans do not get on. I don't know why, but they don't get on. And the Ottomans are really worried about Tripoli, so they realize they need to cover Tripoli with Hogar, so they can't go to Agadez. And I was hoping to get Agadez out of this, but Ottomans say, no, I really need Agadez, but I can't afford to lose Timbuktu, so because I really want to be able to build there. So, hey, Netherlands, how about you move to Timbuktu and bounce Portugal out? I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. That sounds good to me because I can't get Ouagadougou this turn. I can go to Timbuktu and it'll be fine because surely England will defend themselves and not NMR in Africa. But yeah, I decide this is fine. Sure, Ottomans are going to do this, but I'm going to be their only friend in a world where they have lots of enemies and we have a pre-existing relationship and all of that. So, and I hate Portugal, so I'm happy to spite Portugal from getting Timbuktu. So I agree to move to Timbuktu because I am a martyr and only look out for my friends and never look out for myself. France really...
Especially when it means tapping their dots.
Exactly. And, I might accidentally walk in. France really wanted me to support them to Jenne, but I said I was busy elsewhere. And I kind of implied to them I was going to Ouagadougou, but I was really going to Timbuktu. So I did not support France, and I was a little worried that I'd be taking France for a ride too much and they might get pissed off. But they also hated Portugal. I don't think Portugal had
Portugal do to them?
I don't think Portugal had stabbed them yet, but certainly Arctic was wary of LOL stats. And Portugal,
also this is...
Cape Coe was the other one.
Ah, right. But also the West Africa position is scary as France. Because Poland has to die and then Portugal crushes you.
Surrounds them and is getting a core down in Niani. Like, it's scary for France because Poland's dying. France and Poland are locked in. Portugal's going to dominate all of this stuff. Yeah. So,
and especially as the only allies you could have in West Africa are Poland and England, and none of those are available.
Yes. As part of my peace out deal with Portugal, and this is another inverted commas peace deal, they agree to move back to Maldives, I think, to cover against Adjuran. Because I told Adjuran immediately, hey, free Maldives, like, go for it. Because, of course I did. And I'm saying, hey, we can peace out and we need to focus on England here, and that'll be the big thing. So I believe I'm just support holding Ceylon because there's 2 fleets next to it. And I'm not dotting Réunion, and I don't believe Adjuran will do anything to me. I am supporting myself back to Aceh because Ayutthaya might attack me. Like, they just broke a DMZ and they now have 2 on one of my dots. So I'm telling them, like, hey, I'm pretty pissed off, but you can still move Andaman to Chirka coast and you can get some dots and whatever. And so I agreed to do that. I am not happy about this. I know that Kota Batu might go, but I think I support myself into Celebes Sea as my moves to bounce back Spain, because I believe Spain's going to support themselves into Celebes Sea. And I moved to Halmahera Sea because I dislike Spain and Portugal, and Halmahera is next to both of them. So if one of them pieces me, I can go against the other, which I feel like is pretty good. Yes, I'm leaving Flores Sea open, but I'm going to be able to build in Indonesia, ideally. So, yeah.
The nice thing there is that Portugal starts with only 1 unit, so they need to, like, gather some steam before they can really threaten you.
Exactly. Like, it's not a huge plunge. Okay, up here, as part of talking peace with Spain, they said, I'll move Luzon Strait to Philippine Sea. And I don't like that at all, because my move was going to be Okinawa Trough to Philippine Sea, because surely Spain goes for Formosa. And I want to go to Philippine Sea, and I want to put pressure on all of the Philippines. And I can use Formosa as an attack Philippines dot factory, which will be really nice for me. But because of this, I think if Spain actually is piecing me and I bounce them in the Philippine Sea, they're going to be back in Luzon Strait next to Formosa.
Yeah, which is awkward.
Yeah, and they will be like, oh, fuck you, you betrayed me and everything. So I decided to self-bounce over Formosa to protect it. I want to get a build out and all of that kind of thing. And I've just supported Tokugawa back in. Ming's only got 1 on me, so Ryukyu's never going to get attacked, he said, knowing full well what's about to happen. Yeah, let's go to moves. Let's have a look at the Ute position and be happy for a bit.
The moves against Atapasca are going to plan. In the north, me and Inuit are continuing the attack. I think here they successfully cut the support, so they keep Chilcotin and Sahtu.
Yes.
Which I don't mind too much, because of those 3 dots over there, 2 of them are supposed to be Inuits, so it's okay. I end up deciding not to cover Assiniboine or Arapaho, because even though I was next to the Great Plains, because I was pretty sure they were tapping one of those, but I felt like covering both of them was way too passive. And this way I get Lakota in exchange, and then I can just kick them out of wherever it is they attacked me.
Yeah.
I also managed to get France's support into Ojibwe, because I want Atapasca gone as soon as possible, and France is fighting England, so I figured they probably don't want to annoy me too much. Plus, Ojibwe being a Utah dot makes more sense to me anyways, because it's easier. It's much easier if I control all the dots around GPL than us having to share that border. I think at some point here they try to say that they were hoping to get the whole eastern side of the Great Plains, but that just doesn't make sense thought wise. The eastern side is much more dense. So overall, it goes fine. I go, I think, up 2 here. The Athabasca and Assiniboine is a bit annoying, but it's nothing much to deal with.
Yeah.
And some arranged bounces with Spain. They're picking up Cherokee, which I don't really mind. This was arranged between me and Spain.
I'm not happy that they get into Cherokee, of course. But it's good for you.
I'm already starting to think where I go next, and I feel like it has to be either France or Spain. And I am feeling anti-French at this right now, because I don't know how long it will take them to deal with England, and until they do, they're sort of vulnerable.
Yes.
But right now, I have a pretty decent relationship with both them and Spain. So that's a bit of a decision for later. I don't know if you look at Alaska, if there was anything. Oh, yeah. That was a little core that Inuit immediately told me to
not
cut out.
Yeah, that seems to be a habit you had this game, didn't it?
I don't like putting hold orders.
I know, but core orders are inherently hostile.
I think it just brings us closer together.
And I mean, we'll talk about Sweden and their coring later on, but they core.
Yeah, see, those were very friendly cores.
They were friendly cores, that's for sure. And you can see why you're worried about how long France will take to kill England, because England gets into Port Royal, and Inuits attack France.
Yeah, this was sort of part of the discussion between us, where the assumption was they were going against France and I'm going south against Spain.
And Athabasca walk out of Ojibwe.
Oh my god, yeah, that too. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, I think they missed every single guess they could have made.
Yeah, that's so
pretty much the whole game.
Yeah, well, they did all right here, but...
No, but this wasn't a guess. This was just good tactics on their part, I think.
This is just, I'm going to cover Cree, and they just didn't know that France and Inuits were going to go to war. Oh, it's unfortunate. But anyway, England support themselves back into Jamestown, and Spain, as part of the peace deal, had told me they'd support me to Jamestown. Of course they didn't. They took Cherokee and said to England, hey, I'll get you back in and you can screw over the Dutch. So we're not loving that. So Spain get into Cherokee, which I do not like at all. Even though France is still my bestie, they get into Belize.
The Antigua situation is nice.
Yes, it is really nice. And the way I sold this was that I said, England's probably going to tap Guadeloupe, or Antigua's going to try and attack it or something. So I can't support you into Antigua because Guadeloupe will be tapped. So you need to support me into Antigua. And it just so happens that I get the dot. So... And I'm saying, well, yeah, I'll get into Antigua and I'll probably get bounced out of Guadeloupe, but it'll be fine because I'll be in Antigua. So France agrees to do that. And as we can see, Poland covers Barbados, which no one was next to except for France. So I guess they were worried France was going to take Barbados. And Spain gets into New Courland. So Poland continued to crumble. But Palmaba does not get taken, and I left it open.
Very nice. And you get into Tripura.
And I get into Tripura against all odds. Defensively, I even bounced Spain out of Carib so they can't get it. So, I loved this move because Spain clearly were not piecing me out and were clearly continuing to attack me. And if they had just held Japura like they said, I would not have gotten in. So it's their own fault, is how I sold it in press.
And you can genuinely easily sell this as a defensive move, or this is a move that only hurts them if they were trying to hurt you. So.
And also, they did try and hurt me, so I don't care, and I got one over them. And I get in, and I don't... Aymara's crumbling to Portugal Guarani, which is sad. What the fuck is this? Aymara do get into Likitani as part of this war against Mapuche.
This may have been a little overkill.
Yes, it was. Well, not really, because two of them got cut. Yeah.
All of them got cut.
They lose Japaya.
Except for one.
Yeah, Aymara decided to screw over Mapuche at the expense of Guarani getting more against them. So Guarani get 3 Aymara,
which is not too surprising.
Yeah, so this is one of the turns that really made Guarani into one of the powerhouses that they've become. Because they get all 3 of these dots here and are in a very, very dominant position. And they support themselves into Argentine Basin while Mapuche go to SAO, which is a bit scary. But, yes. Portugal take Bermuda off England, which is nice to see. Portugal do not move to Timbuktu. So I get into Timbuktu.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, which is really nice. So, and I wouldn't have gotten into Ouagadougou, and France gets into Djenné anyway, so they don't care too much, but Poland knocked them out of Ndakaru.
They had two units versus 2, just sort of
going in circles forever,
bouncing each other back and forth.
And that is why you get a 3rd unit into the fray.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is good. And Portugal does not tap Leeward Sea, which is important. And I took Guadeloupe this way because if Portugal did tap Leeward, they would not stop it. So yes, it risked someone getting into Leeward Sea, but it ended up paying off because Spain did not piece me out, and Portugal did, which I don't think I've showed on the map quite yet, but we'll get there. So I get into Berlin, which is really lovely to see because 2 different supports are cut. Oh, and here's one of the unfortunate turns where France and I make the wrong call against England because we were like, well, surely England is going to defend London because we can just support either English Channel to London or Ghent to London by convoy. And they can't... yes, they might be able to tap it and stop it, but we're like, they're going to support hold themselves, right? And London was totally vulnerable this turn. And we could have taken London.
And but Wales falls?
Wales... yeah. Well, it's not really going to do anything else. So I could go to Oxford, I guess.
Feel like at least it's better in Oxford, yeah.
Yeah, unless they want to build in Oxford.
Oh, true.
But England building in this game is not a thing we're going to see. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I figured they're going to defend London, so I'm going to get in position in North Sea, and they defended it. They tapped Southern Bight, and I didn't get in, so that was sad. France continued to pressure Austria and get in. Spain is decimating the Ottomans. Austria and Ottomans start working together against Spain. A little bit of anti-Spain happening. Ottomans don't even get to build in Tripoli because Spain covered Tangier against Portugal. But yes, I take Benin, Congo takes Sao Tome. Abyssinia continues to attack Congo, and I support them because Bayer was one of the areas that could be weak. So Congo love me because it didn't end up mattering, but Congo could have lost Bayer if I didn't support them. So that was...
yeah, it was a relevant move.
Yep. But Abyssinia are pissed off with me, and I'm a little worried that Abyssinia and Ottomans might work against me if I stab Ottomans. So... because remember, this isn't a stab. Everyone assumed this was a stab, and it wasn't. This was agreed with Ottomans, which, I mean, is brilliant. But, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very nice dot for free.
Yes, we'll see. So, yeah, Congo still going against Portugal. And you might notice this order here from SAO4 by me, where I go to Cape Coast. You might wonder what the hell I'm doing, because I don't get in, and France and Portugal bounce over Mapondo. Well, let me tell you about the plan that France hatched, because France had not yet been stabbed by lolstats, but was pretty pissed off about Cape Coe. So the plan that France hatched was to have this bounce happen, and this bounce is great for France because if Cape Coe gets dislodged, they can't retreat to Mapondo. And they have the plausible deniability of not having stabbed Portugal because the plan was that Congo would support me to Cape Coe. And Congo agreed to do this and moved to Benguela, which, I mean, they're covering an open dot that Portugal may or may not go for. So it's kind of fair enough, but they did agree to support me in, and they then did not. So I'm a little bit unhappy.
Yeah, that's
my press line, because I was prepared to see Portugal maybe piece me. I didn't really believe it, but I thought they might. And so, like with Japura, what I said to them was, well, you took Flores, and I said that you could take it if it was a trade, so this was the trade. And I said to them, just making clear that this was the trade. It doesn't matter that I didn't get in this turn. We can find another dot for me later. And I'm just full on like, no, I will get something back for Flores, even though we're piecing. Because Portugal, as you can see, do piece me out, and they do not march on me. They move to Solomon Islands, which is kind of anti-Spain, kind of anti-other people. They go back to Maldives, and I support them even though it doesn't matter. England try for Ceylon, and Portugal do not help them. Portugal get a lot of stuff from England in India, but Portugal are piecing with me, technically. So they're not very happy about this Cape Coe move. And I'm going to bring the message up on the screen in the edit. I don't have it here right now, but it was basically like Lolstats's Joker moment. But it basically went like, okay, I understand that you are unhappy about Flores, but let me be clear, there will be no trade. I amused you and humored you when you said, oh, well, maybe I can get Maldives for Flores. And I said, oh, yeah, maybe we'll figure that out. You were never going to get anything because that deal was made with Rabbit Jam and was not made with me, and there will be no trade. We can work together here, but you need to stop pulling this shit, and I will not be intimidated by you, you bully, and all of this kind of thing. So it was... I honestly, at this point, I was like, okay, he kind of pieced me, but also, fuck this guy. Like, Jesus. And
it's a very aggressive piece.
Yeah, very aggressive piece, but having read Portugal's Void, they were all very angry with me going for Cape Coe. So you can see what drove Lolstats to do this. So still not all is fine and dandy with me and Lolstats at this point, but I do not get into Cape Coe because Congo lets me down, which is sad. And I've been their friend, so I'm pretty sad. I've let them into Sao Tome, and they did not get me into Cape Coe, so it's kind of annoying. But oh well. Let's go back to where we were looking. And yeah, so I'm safe in Ceylon. Ayutthaya do go for Aceh. And of course they did. They full stabbing me. And look at this convoy. Oh.
I think this was I think Kevin
yes.
NMR here.
Correct. This is the gunboat phase. And I've read Ayutthaya's Void after this game. And it looks like this was basically decision by committee by all of the specs, because Kevin didn't say outright in the Void that they were going to convoy to Sarawak. The person who suggested that move was Azabel, one of their specs, who I knew from World of Chaos, and who we may hear more from later on. But Azabel suggested, oh, are you going to convoy to Sarawak? And then, as Kevin NMRs and gunboat orders are asked for from the specs, I believe it was Soda Winhayek, who was the person I suspected did this, said, oh, are we right to convoy Udong to Sarawak? So I think Azabel suggested it, and Ween kind of did it. And yeah, I knew coming into this game, so Kevin subbed in for Ween in Orchid, and Ween was speccing Kevin in this game. So I have a lot of history with Ween, and I had a feeling Ween might have done this. I was a little salty about a gunboat order going so much against me, but I also wouldn't have assumed that a gunboater would do things that Kevin wasn't already planning on doing. So the benefit of the doubt was that Kevin was planning to attack me, and reading the Void after the game, Kevin was planning on attacking me. So there's absolutely no hard feelings against the gunboaters for doing this, because it's tactically good, and it's against me, and it's all that. So Ayutthaya stabs me is the important thing. I bounced Spain in Halmahera, which I'm very happy about, because I don't want them getting in. I bounced myself in Celebes C, and I should have really supported myself in... That's right, I said I was supporting myself into Celebes C, but I think I was worried about Sambas sniping Banjarmasin.
Yeah, I think if Ayutthaya stabbing the convoy was the more obvious, like just a better move.
Yeah.
So
no, it's
probably supporting yourself into Celebes would have been better.
Yes. Although that said, I would have nothing next to Banjarmasin after that.
I feel like you're struggling to control that anyways.
Yes.
Because he has 2 on it, so it doesn't make too much of a difference. Like if that army comes in there, you're sort of losing Banjarmasin.
Yeah. technically, if I read this move set, I could have tapped Sambas and Sarawak. But
Yeah.
my God, that's a risky move to make because Spain could just walk into Cotabato if that's not happening.
Yeah. I think if you were worried about a stab, you could have arranged a bounce over Sarawak and then cut Sambas without saying.
Yes, but that said, Spain could then just support themselves into celibacy. I'm
Yeah.
overextended, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not great. And speaking about stabs, Tokugawa supports
Tokugawa.
me
I didn't actually know that.
into Ryukyu.
That's a choice? They didn't have to do that.
No, they did not. I was trying to bounce over Formosa, and Spain read me like a book and supported hostile support Okinawa trough to Formosa, so I can't build there. So this is another very nice tactical move by Spain, and of course I should move to Philippine Sea. Like, what am I doing? Like, come on. This is absolutely dog shit play by Vlad here. Because if I'm in Philippine Sea, I have a lot of applied pressure. I can support myself into Halmahera Sea, or I can go for a dot, or all sorts of things. And I end up in Formosa unable to build there. So it's not good. Yeah, so I believe I went +5 this year. Inuit snipe Edo. Which is kind of
I think that was them and Spain working together. I think Spain offered them support into it.
I believe. And then Spain didn't do so.
No.
Oh, well, Tokugawa can't cover it, so there's no need for support.
Wait, no, there was some deal between them, because I remember reading...
Yeah, maybe it was support into Osaka?
That doesn't... Maybe later. Yeah, that's possible.
Because also, like, I look at this and I'm like, oh, Spain is coming to attack me in Ryukyu Islands as well. But, it doesn't matter because
obviously.
I'm not in the Ryukyu Islands, so it doesn't matter at all.
That's someone else's problem.
Yes. So, all in all, I don't lose as many dots as I thought I would. And I gain Timbuktu, which I had no right to gain. And I gain Japura, which I had no right to gain. So, it's not that bad, but yes, it is. It's really bad. And I go to France and I say, oh my God, this is the worst +5 year in the history of +5 years. I'll bring up the scoreboard. I go +5 and get 6 builds. And France is also really sad because they say, oh my God, this is the worst +3 year for them as well. Because France... where did France get screwed? They got screwed in North America.
And, North America didn't go well.
And we didn't work out in Europe. So France is unhappy with their year. They also didn't work in Africa. So I'm saying this is the worst +5 year ever. France is saying this is the worst +3 year ever. And we're anti-Spain, I'm anti-Spain, France is anti-Portugal. I'm less anti-Portugal now, but I'm still very wary of Portugal. And I've got Ayutthaya bearing down on me. It's not looking all that good. So... we'll get through retreats, I think. Was there anything else you wanted to comment on the board state? Oh, yeah, Ajuran stab.
Oh, yeah, that happened, right.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah,
Other than that, I don't think I was following the rest of the board too much yet.
Yes. So Congo managed to flip them, which I guess is maybe part of why they covered Benguela, because they wanted to not piss off Portugal while they were making a new enemy. But it pissed me off, so... But yes, Abyssinia's starting to crumble.
Yeah, so. But they didn't know how firm an ally you were until this point. So
that is true. I could have just bounced them out of Sao Tome or supported Abyssinia into Bayer or whatever. Yeah. Although, if I support anyone into Bayer, the retreat goes to House of States. So, I mean, why would I do that?
Offering the support and not giving it is still a bit of a mistake, I think.
This is the second move in a row that I leave House of States open against them. Because I move out of House of States. So I'm trusting them here by leaving House of States open. So I'm doing all I can to win Congo over. And I'm miffed about this, but it's all right. Oh yeah, I've got the choice of these two. I decide to go to Okinawa Trough. I think that's what I do. Or maybe I blow it up. Because I'm sad. I don't know. Let's go to the retreats map. We'll see.
Yeah, you blow it up.
Yeah, I blow it up because I want to rebuild elsewhere. I want to rebuild in Indonesia, that's right. Because I'm like, okay, Formosa's doomed.
I think it makes sense because those two are not surviving there on their own.
France go away from me, which is nice because I've got these 4 dots now, and my Caribbean is cooking. Like, I've come in here, by the end of year 2, my 1 dot colony has become 4.
Yeah,
I'm very happy about it. I get to build in Palermo, like Spain's going away. It's good. Yeah, England retreats to Estrie, of course. We'll see what happens there. There's no retreats for you to talk about. Here's the board before builds. And I think we should probably leave this video here because we are 3 hours into this.
Yeah, I think I was overestimating myself when I said, yeah, we can go for 3 years.
Yeah. I think this is a really good place to stop. The first couple of years are always going to take the longest. I think I am realizing that covering a colonial in these videos takes a long time. And I
think I remembered like halfway through this talk that when I was watching like the Diplostrats video, I think their Spain videos are like 5 or 6 videos each. I think the 2 hours was optimistic.
Yes, and we're doing a colonial and a regional in the one video. So
yeah,
I might need to start going straight to moves and not talk about the clean map before moves. I think
I think that would speed it up.
Yes, I think I need. But
other than that, it's fine. I'm having fun.
Yeah, no, this has been great. It's really enjoyable talking to you, Tyrant. People should go and check out the Discord and read voids and everything. I know your void is good fun to read. I think my void is very long and very detailed, so if you want to go and read it.
I feel like yours had your entire thought process. I updated mine whenever I felt like it, and whenever I didn't feel too stressed from whatever was happening in the game, I updated it every now and then. Yours was a journal.
So mine is very detailed. It's not just a journal; it's also discussions with specs a lot. So yeah, it's good fun. I stopped doing the really in-depth summaries before every move at some point because I went to England on holiday. But yeah, it's a very long void. This has been really fun. Come and watch us talk about what happens going forwards, and you'll get to the point where Ute and Netherlands start nattering to each other, and you'll see why the hell it's us two sitting here talking. Because at the moment, why are we talking with each other? We'll see.
We barely share a continent.
Exactly, we barely share a continent, and I'm flying off the continent. I'm giving it up. So why would we matter to each other? Why would we matter to each other? Yes. Okay, I think that's it for a video, and we'll see you in the next one.